You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Yeah, good evening. Welcome to Outside the Box here on Friday night. criticalmassradio.co.uk. Yours truly, Kate of Gaia. Lots of wonderful things going on right now. Looks like Kate's Kids Cove is getting well and truly set up for the kids to be able to teach each other and teach themselves, and it's going to be an interesting future we have. It's beautiful. Just wanted to share a couple of things, and again, I just want to scroll back down here. I'm just going to try to have it ready, but I had to reboot and a few other things here. But a little continuation upon the White Knight story here, the true White Knight, not that other nonsense crap. The 8-year-old one, not quite. She turns 8 in a month, which, well, of course, Gemini. Gemini doesn't start for a bit. I would know that because I am one. Where are we here? I just want to share Wayne's story, and here, let me just get to, you guys will love this. And yeah, Benward, I will get to the Phoenician starter kit tonight. That will be, I love this one first. I think this was great. Thank you, Dee, for this share. I was approached by a teacher, very serious face after school. Ted cut his hair. Oh, no, send for the police. Honestly, I laughed in his face and said, well, it's his hair, not mine. His best friend cut his tie, and his mom laughed, too. Stupid effing tie anyway, we both said. They should all cut them all up and put them all in the bin. Couldn't agree more. Yeah, that's the UK system. Get them into uniforms, you know. Start them uniform early. That way, you know, everyone gets to be the same. You see, here's the thing. There is a big difference to being equal and being the same, right? We can all be completely ourselves and be equal at the same time. See, it's a singularity. So in order to be completely different from everybody else is really being who and what you are. It makes all of us equally the same in the same way, you know. So this whole tunnel vision that people have been forced into with the indoctrinations of the school systems and what have you. I mean, have a look around. The whole society that you're walking around in is based on this codification of uniformity. I mean, cops, military, they get uniforms. That's one form. So you're all the same. It's all cult worship is all this is, right? Clergy, you know, if you're of a certain religion, you all wear the same uniform, you know. Bankers and lawyers, they all wear shirts and ties, and of course you get the funny looking lawyers with their robes and stuff along with the judges, and none of them know how to accessorize to save their lives, quite frankly. Never wear match shoes. But there it is, uniformity again, right? You know, the business world, it's all about suits and ties and pantsuits for the ladies. Got to make them more masculine every single day. Well, if you're going to act like a guy, might as well dress like one, right? So, but the uniformity, guys, is a problem that we're dealing with on the grand scale. And, you know, no one wants to be any different than anybody else. You know, that would, oh, no, you're different than everybody else. Yeah, so, good. It would sure be boring if we're all the same, don't you think? I think that would be quite disgusting, personally. Anyway, here's a post from Wayne. A little announcement. I was able to go out today and picked up Borean's computer, and it will be on its way Monday. Got him a little Minnie Mouse and a headset as well. I love that Minnie Mouse. Get it? It's just a small retractable cord on the mouse. Very small, handy. The laptops, you know, the little touch pads can be a bit of a pain in the ass. I'm much faster with a mouse than I am with that touch pad. And could never set the sensitivity. Besides this little notebook of mine, I've got an HP notebook here, tiny thing. The touchpad hasn't worked since I replaced the keyboard. But anyway, here it works just fine though. I got the mouse and I got everything I need. So this is why it's just beautiful to be able to start helping others. I have fought for so long to get into at least this position where it's like, okay, We got some resources. Let's disperse them where they're needed. I'm tired of people in the past, prior to my getting here, parasiting. Literally, I mean, I won't even get into it tonight. It's just it's disgusting how much you give people only for them to turn around and steal from you. So fine, that's what you want to do. You obviously miss the abundance, and well, you know the rules on that. When you miss the abundance, you get the curse 1,000-fold. Sorry about your luck, but that shows it. But here we go. I don't play light ball here. This is from Wayne. This is the update. White is really going for it. I asked her what you're going to do next week in the class, and well, she said, I'm asking all the kids and friends, what do you want to learn about? And I'm going to be playing music, some jazz and classic and some of Kate's, but I'm going to play it low. When she said the next thing, my eyes filled up. She said, we'll be going outside and playing a game of who you are and who do you want to be. So I said, how do you play it? Well, she said, Jesus didn't sit in the wilderness for 40 days and nights fighting the devil. He was in his mind fighting his... This is an 8-year-old, okay? Less 7-year-old turning 8, okay? Let's say it for what it is, okay? So here's what she said to her dad. Well, she said, Jesus didn't sit in the wilderness for 40 days and nights fighting the devil. He was in his mind fighting his ego with no words being said for 40 days and nights, sitting in a circle with his disciples, and he was in the middle of the circle in his mind. But we don't have 40 days and nights, but we have 40 minutes to try it. I said, how do you know that? And she just smiled and said, I just do. And she said, you do know you're going to try and stop us. And off to bed she went. I'll let you know how it goes next week. See, that's the shit I'm talking about. That's the level of consciousness awakening. The youth are awake, guys. You got to be the one to pay attention to this. And how many times did you hear as a child? Well, children should be seen and not heard. Go to bed. Go to your room. And by the way, Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and the rest of these things are real. Yeah, okay, Mom. Okay, Dad. I get it. We all did the same thing as parents. We ain't doing that anymore. That's a load of shite. Is what that is. But definitely wanted to share that. A lot of other interesting things going on as well. Ninja set up the Facebook page for Kate's Kids Cove today. And we've got a little group set up on Skype for people primarily in that venue as far as homeschooling, wanting to be involved in that, maybe, and we have teachers as well. So for anyone that is interested and want to get involved in World School, which is going to be headed by the children, where we get to make sure that things are kept out of the mainstream as far as the way the garbage that we were taught growing up. It's going to be nice to share with the children that the Holocaust was a hoax. It's going to be nice to share with the children all of these lies that the governments have told us, all of the same shit over and over and over. Because, if you repeat the same lie often enough, people eventually take it as verbatim. And, a lie is a lie. And that's the joy of truth. When you tell it, you never have to worry about watching your back. It's kind of cool. I think it's really neat, personally. Like the story goes, you tell one lie, you got to tell 10 to cover it and 10 to cover each one of those. So choose your paths wisely here. But again, great job, kiddo, and I'm really looking forward to the play-by-play. And Borean had also mentioned about... I'm actually hoping to hear from Borean tonight as well. But there was a post here. Here, I'll share this, and I'm really loving this idea. It would be awesome to report Saturday bitch night with Kids Cove. And I'll start doing some live field reporting with kids at the local mall and movie halls. This is a great idea. This is how you get the kids involved, right? Et cetera. Probably even going to start right here in the neighborhood. That's all it takes, Gather the kids around and let them know that this is their world and we're here to help them take their world back, right? I don't see any other game worthwhile here. I really don't. If you can find me one, let me know. But I looked, and the only thing that's going to make for me a worthwhile world is when the benevolent consciousness fully regains it, which it's doing, And these governments and police and all the rest of this crap and nonsense energy, physical fear porn stuff that follows with it, gets eradicated completely once and for all. I always go back to the ending of the movie, The Last Mimsy. For those that haven't seen that, I would highly recommend you watch that and pay very close attention to the allegories and the things that are going on. It's a very poignant story, especially the very end, and that's the reality I see. And we're there, guys. This system is crumbling down around itself. Every good deed destroys 1,000 evil ones, and that's all we got to do. Just keep your heart pure. This is anarchy in its purest form. This is heart rule. This is where you're taking back the rule from the programmed mind back into the uncorruptible heart. Because if someone is living in the heart space, they are uncorruptible. There's no, or incorruptible, whatever way you want to put it. They're not corruptible at all. Right? And, well, there's that rupt, core, rupt, heart, rupt meaning tear, heart tear. No, the hearts cannot be torn. And you know this. I'm not telling you something you don't know. Every night I don't tell you anything you don't know. I'm just here to remind you, as I've been reminding myself, of who and what we truly are. And great job, guys. Beautiful job, Lightworkers Media. Giuseppe, I love the trifold. So there's actually a couple of trifolds now up on the site, the one I put together. And by all means, guys, take the templates and make them your own if you want to do something local for your area. Remember, everything on my website is our website. And anything that gets put there is yours. Do with it what you will, what you need to do with it. All right? This is why we have so many people. We've got people doing translations now. Just got another, I think I mentioned last night, Babylon Has Fallen, translated into German. This is the stuff I'm talking about. This is where each and every one of you with your special human trick, perhaps you're bilingual, you can make a huge impact. Because here's the thing. When someone is reading Babylon Has Fallen in their native tongue from the concepts that have been shared in their native tongue, you're giving them the aha moments. That's what you're doing. You're actually giving these people, these beings, back their power of truth when they read. So do not underestimate for 1 second the power you have, the power you are wielding. Every seed planted turns into a tree. Guaranteed. Just plant the seeds. That's all it takes. You know, and then we get the kids going at this. I don't know about you, but word gets out that there's a world school for the kids that that they get to choose their topics, that the things that really interest them, and this is where this is going to get pretty wide in scope very quickly. Where kids get an opportunity to really get into the things that they love to do. This is not about what they have to do. Well, you have to learn this math, and you have to learn this English, and blah, blah. I can't remember the last time I ever saw someone working at a potter's wheel with a calculator. You know, in some parts of reality, if that's still part of the physical manifestation, yeah, I could see math as useful. Those that really dig it and really want a part of it. But that's their special human or spirit trick. Right? And this whole idea of thrusting everything down every child's throat is the worst form of education you can get, because if only 3 or 4% of what a child is getting is something they love and resonate with, just like the supposed junk DNA, the rest of the schooling is junk. And talk about wasted energy. Oh, but you've got to get the grades, you've got to get this, and you've got to get that, and you know, no pressure on the kids. How many times have you heard the stories of kids that don't like English, for example, or they don't like math, or they don't like science, whatever, and they get poor marks, and it brings the entire thing down, of course. And what's it do to them? It takes their spiritual beingness down. It makes them feel. You see, that's the problem with competition. It creates a winner and a loser. I'm only interested in creating winners all around. Because here it is in a nutshell, where people can sit back and say, wow, Kate, the guitar and all the rest of it, that's really awesome. Well, that's one of my tricks. I'm not one to sit around and, on occasion, I love to watch other musicians and what have you, to be inspired. If I'm going to get inspired, all I got to do is turn on a Toto video. Those guys rock their universe. But anyway, just for sheer talent, it's just sick. I love it. But I want to look at other people doing their awesome tricks. The outstanding things that people do, the rock climbers, the skydivers, the whatever. It doesn't matter. I won't put any category, because on occasion I'll just be leafing through the net, and I'll be looking specifically for crazy awesome things that people do. And these videos show up on occasion from time to time. And I just sit back in total awe of that point of me being you, This is how we inspire each other. It's like, wow, that's really cool. I wish I could do that. In as much as there are people out there wishing they could do what you can do, that you probably take for granted, I don't take writing and singing whatever for granted. But it's something I do. So I'm really apt to go out and keep watching the same thing that I do, because that's boring, right? Plus, I don't want to taint what it is that I do too much, right? I just want to, observe. But, watching, these kids and whatever flip out on the BMX bikes and skateboards and rail jumps and, the kids that jump building to building and from crazy heights and whatever, it's like, that's the shit I'm talking about. That's like, wow, look at us, and reveling in that. It's beautiful. There are people out there that are amazing green thumbs. I mean, they touch a seed and it basically starts bearing fruit in their hand. There are people that are like that. They're natural. Just that's their thing. That's the energy that they bring. There are people out there that can invent and come up with some crazy awesome things. I mean, look, our whole society is based on a monetary system on lack and loss. That's what the whole monetary system is. You're trying to tell me that there's a shortage on the planet? Well, no, the only illusion there is the shortage of money. So you better go out and earn some more of that so you can have some of that while we rape the planet more of that, So get rid of the money middleman, you'll be fine. And as soon as you get rid of that in your mind and heart, you realize just how duped humanity has been for how long, where we've given over our creative God ability to someone, something, dark principality, whatever you want to call it, that is offering a big bag of nothing called money, illusion. They print it out of thin air, so whatever. And we say, oh, you want my God ability? Okay, well, here, I'll register and give you my soul. And contract's contract. I just changed my contract, my point of view on that. But this is where we get to celebrate each and every one of us. This is the game. You are the most miraculous point of light with the most crazy, awesome spirit/human trick that no one else in this universe has. Go ahead and tell me you're not special. Go ahead and tell me that everyone isn't special. And I don't care who it is. I don't care where they're from. I don't care what their canvas was painted with. I take all that shit and scrape it all away, because all I can see is the beautiful essence of the being. And, if I was God, and I am, that's what I would do. I would create so many infinite points of me, points of view, so that I could observe the incredible glory that we all are. It's incredible. And the joy of this is there's no ego attached. It's just pure bliss. But a little post here from Paul. Actually, I might get him to jump in tonight, but I did mention that I am going to get onto this Phoenician starter kit. For those that do want to get involved with the Kids Cove, the KKK, right? Love doing this. It's awesome. Kate's Kids Cove. Just let Ninja know, or myself, and whatever. And there's already a Skype group started with people that are dedicated to that. and I'd love to have you partake. We've got, like I said, we've got some really good group, and I'm going to use the term leaders lightly, but those with experience in this already. And that's not to say that anyone that doesn't have experience isn't. Please follow your heart. If this is what's going to resonate with you, then come on in. There's sorry, we don't take resumes here. You just got to have a heart. You got to have the want. If it's what you want, then that's what wishes are made of, isn't it? So let's get busy. You know, no applications required. We don't take them. Don't need them. You'll know in your own heart if this is what you want, and by all means, follow your heart. Sorry for making it difficult for you. Sorry, we don't do competition. No, we don't do it at all, actually. So, but anyway, let me see. I got Borean here, and I got Paul. So let's bring you guys in, and we'll get to this Phoenician starter kit that I better get to, or I'm going to get a couple of other texts that might not be as polite as the last ones have been. Go ahead. Go ahead, guys.
Hola, amigos.
What's happening, Kate? What's happening, Borean? Yeah, man.
Muy bueno. Muy bueno. It's a beautiful day here near the Canyonlands here on planet Earth. And Katie, you're right. This is, to me, this is my game changer on my little planet, and involving the kids and doing what you just said, what we all need to do. We all need to find our stupid little human trick that we're good at, and go out there and share it. And and people will just flock to it like a magnet. That's how it works. And I'm so excited about this. I really, you have no idea how long I've been waiting for the table to get to this point, where we can move past all the details, all the bullshit about of what has happened to us in the past, and now we can move forward and march along into our future and create the reality that we've been waiting to create. This is a beautiful stage that we're getting to here, and this is incredible.
Borean, you know, we had to get to the point where there are enough of us now that can call out anything on this planet for the bullshit it is. And that is, for me, in the grand scheme, where we all had to get to, where we're not buying the lies anymore. So we already know that the entire system is fraud. We know that all the education is fraud, and we have all the tools to go look for yourself. And so now that that's nullified, we just lost Borean. That's why he's getting the computer. Anyway, there we go. Well, more than that, but that's exactly what we need to do.
Yeah.
We need to get that.
Think of that post, Kate. I've been getting some wild downloads of late, like.
Well, I was going to say, since you're here, why don't you, if you can, why don't you have a quick read of it, and maybe do a quick explanation on it. Yeah,
let me jump back in there. Yeah, it was basically to do with you could say the 6 points. If everybody's got a piece of paper, like say 3 dimensions, this will explain the 3-dimensional multiverse or universe or whatever. I would say multiverse because there's 11 dimensions to do with the Sephira. So if you draw a straight line and then a cross and then a diagonal line, one just, you know what I'm saying, Kate? You know what I'm talking about. You'll get, like, say, 6 points, like, say, the 6 points of the Starry David, right? But in the centre point, like, say, what I say to you, in the 3D, that's be the north, south, east, west, up and down, right? That refers, like, say, to do with the Starry David. That would be 6 points or 6 gates. What are bard pairs? They're bard pairs.
Well, here, just to toss this on top, you need 3 Ks to create a Coptic key.
Yeah, that's the 3-dimensional thing. And once again, Kate, as I'm saying, right? Yeah. But when you start to look at this, it says, like, say, this is how God created the universe. Right, and this is how I could explain that we are gods, because we are the same. We can go up, down, north, south, east and west, right? But we're always there's always the centre point of us. So the centre of the universe, you could explain through this 3-dimensional. Is it us? We are the centre of the universe. We are, like so you would say, would be gods. When you start to look into this, right, it's to do with the gates. So they say that the 6 gates are barred to us, but the 7th gate is open. And the 7th gate would be the gate from within. So you could say that would be your soul, finding yourself, Kate, finding you, that would be the gate. Do you know what I'm saying? And that would represent, this is how they say it was done in a Kabbalistic sense. They say above, that would be Bet, north would be Pei, Dalet would be east, and east, Dalet means door, and east, as you know, the sun always rises in the east and sets in the west. So that's like, that would suggest that it's dark in the west, but it's even darker in the north. So they would say that the devil resides in the north. But the devil, you could say, like what I was saying to you there, Kate, St. Peter, St. Peter is judgment. In the Catholic Church, they would say, yes, St. Peter's judgment, he holds the 2 keys. But really, how can a man... I know this is to do with Jesus stuff, but this stuff was created by gods, or the Ein Sof. So how could St. Peter be judgment, a mere man? Do you know what I mean, Kate? So that's a falsehood taught by the Catholic Church. So they've changed the Satan, who is judgment, if you look at the Tree of Life, to do with Gebura, and this is to do with 4 dimensions. So, and you could say it's to do with us managing to rise through the dimensions, like what Sivan would talk about, breaking through hypercubes and rising through the dimensional of time and space. So we're in a 3rd dimension of time and space, Kate, right? So you could say, like say, as I was going back to Dalet meaning door. So and then you've got Gimel below, and then you've got south. That would be Resh, Kaf, west, and Tau. Tau is the centre. I mean, this is really interesting what I'm getting to, Kate. Hello?
Yeah, Paul. What would be something people could have to look at? Because I mean, I know what you're talking about because I know what the Kabbalah layout is, but maybe the Kabbalistic tree with all the different names that you're mentioning here listed on it, so people can have a visual reference. Because I know that I really want to hone in on this one night again, just to what would be some of the handiest tools for people to have in front of them, so that this becomes show and tell versus
2 PDFs, Kate. Two PDFs. If you could get the Sefer Yetzirah, as I said, the Sefer Yetzirah, that explains a lot, and maybe the Bahir. Okay, well,
can you get those to me, and then we can get them up on the cateofgaia.wordpress site, and that way we've got an immediate reference. Because you see, that's one of the things about doing essays is I really hate even reading an essay on the air without it being for others to be able to read with me, because of the spellings that I use to illustrate phonics, and how crazy a word can be flipped into a completely different meaning, but it has the same sound. So this is one of the reasons why maybe let's have a look at that, because even this, I think, is a perfect tool for children to, and it's a game. It is just a game.
Understand these Bibles more. You would understand the Quran, any Christian, any one, the Gnostic interpretations. Through, I particularly think, through, this is why you could say a lot of the Jewish peoples have kept, so especially the rabbis, kept this to themselves, because they didn't want us really knowing this, really. Do you know? Because Jesus would be the Tau. Yeah, Jesus is the Tau. If you look at the Tau, it would be a T. You know, Jesus is the Tau, so Jesus would be the centre point. That's the centre point, Kate. So as Jesus says, he holds the keys. So it's like, do it, and then you can flick it back into Taoism. You know, the centre path. And that's the way to go, Kate. But when you start to look at it, when it's referring to dimensions, as I say, dimensions, you could say that the 4th dimension, the dimension we're in now would be judgment, because we would be in Malkuth. That's why I referenced the Book of Ruth. This Ruth, UTH, Ruth, Malkuth. Do you know what I'm saying, Kate? This is, they don't tell you these things. These are through as I say, just a bit of study if you want to go and look at my. You can look at my Sonic and all that. You know
yeah,
what
Paul,
I mean?
I can follow you. I have a rudimentary understanding of what you're talking about. So this is one of the things maybe we can start putting together, like I said, with those PDFs and maybe some diagrams for people to follow along, so we can make this Kabbalah easy, because that's what we have to do. We got to make it easy.
Yeah, it needs to be, because it does some kind of complicated, and sometimes when Savan's speaking, he speaks about, like, say, stuff sometimes, and he puts it out there, and it's like there'll be a lot of people wouldn't understand it, and I quite understand it a lot. I'm not saying I'm being egotistical, but I quite understand a lot with Savan's when he speaks about the dimensional stuff, these hypercubes. And when you look at the hypercubes, you could say, this is what they would say, there would be like 11 cubes all stacked on top of each other. So the third cube, the third dimension, is unstable. And they say that's through it needs to correct itself. That's when you get back to the correction. But as I was saying, Kate, with that, with St. Peter and all of that, that goes to those, like, memento mori, remember you will die. That's like all these kings and queens. They still will be judged. Do you know what I mean? When we go into the ground, you could say when we go into below, which would be Gimel, that we're all on an even. That's us all on an. We're all on an even keel, as you would say. And that's when judgment would become. But with St. Peter, it's when you get into the fourth dimensions. They say basically that's when judgment, and it's to do with the seventh heaven. You've heard of the seventh heavens.
Oh yeah.
Well, the first heaven would be the fourth dimension. Basically, this is a way of looking at it. The first heaven would be the fourth dimension, and it's only on how you conduct yourself in this, which is judgment, will basically determine where you what you could say, what heaven you would end up at. Your achievement is seventh heaven. This isn't a Kabbalistic reference. So, you know what I mean? So some people, if they didn't get it, what they're trying to do is bring people back, keep them here. Because it's nice to hear those people say, when you look at the Saklas, he says, why do I want to serve in heaven when I can rule in hell? Sure, Lord, why do I want to rule in heaven when I can serve here?
Yeah, we got some interference. Yeah, pause. Someone's mic. Hang on a sec. Just gonna mute out Mike and see what's going on here. There, right? That mic. 770. I might not remember the numbers.
Yeah, if it's Mark.
Oh. Sorry about that, Borean. As soon as you started talking, it cleared up.
Okay, I was going to say, if it's me, I have no way to mute myself out, without using the Skype pad, which puts, the music on. So if you need to mute me out, go ahead and mute me out.
No, that's fine. All you got to do is, as soon as you start hearing that, just say check, and that should clear it up. That's, I think, what's been happening. As soon as you start talking, it all clears up. It's bizarre.
Okay.
Yeah. So what they would say, Kate, so we would be in Yesod and Malkuth if you're looking at a Kabbalistic tree, which they say is judgment. So it's all to do with basically the last seven. So Tippereth would be your centre point. That would be the centre of you, and Tippereth means beauty. So the centre of you is beautiful. So you could say that heaven is within, Kate. Because the
totally
Tao, as it says, it's the final letter. This is when they say when God created the universe, He created it with these letters. As I said, He created it with the Bet, the Pei, the Dalet, the Gimel, the Resh, the Kaf, and the Tau is where He rested in His central point. And they say that He left. And then this is thousands of years ago. They say when He left, it created a vacuum. We created basically the speed of a vacuum in the universe, so we cannot hear the universe's basically vibrations, because, do you know what I mean, Kate? There's no sound in the speed of a vacuum, so that's how we can't hear we can't physically hear the vibrations of the planets what are around us, because He left in that central point. So as I'm saying, the Tao, Jesus, is the centre point from within, the Messiah, the centre point within. So when you find your centre point, you will become the force known as the Messiah, as it's not a human, it's a force. So you will become basically a super being. And then when it comes to, like, say, as they say, bringing the heavens up, so you could bring heaven to earth. So you would make, like, say, what would be the Kepher, which means crown. You would bring Kepher, the crown, to its kingdom, which is Malkuth, and that's to do with the bride and the groom in Revelations. Kate, the bride and the groom.
Yep, very familiar with it. Same allegory.
Yeah. And that would mean the Kabbalistic reference. But when you go to St. Peter, as I said, he would be, as with his two keys, he would be memento mori, death, as I says. When they built the allegory to do with the temple, when they built the temple 33, they didn't finish a stone. So the devil came down and he finished the stone and put his mark on the stone, which was the skull and bones. And I find something interesting the other day. I was looking at the gematria of Samuel, which is 322, and underneath it was Messiah, which had the exact same gematria as Samuel, which is 322, which I found very interesting, Kate.
And that number comes up a lot with the different Illuminati groups, 322, and of course March 22nd and what have you. Oh yeah, I mean the correlations of this information.
And that was in Hebrew. That was in the by the Hebrew gematria. It was. You know what I'm saying, Kate? 322. You know yourself. Oh
yeah. You all you're going to get from me on this is verification of that which we have talked about. It's one of the reasons why we don't need to get too literal on this. It's just, that's the confirm for that, and it comes in here, and it comes in here. Okay, so let's lose the number game because we know that's what that's about, and let's see why. And that's where we focus here. We don't get caught up in the semantics of the rest of the nonsense that goes with it. Mm-hmm. Good job done. We got all the proof we need, guys. We got all the clues we need, How long you need to stare at the same thing over and over to get the same story over and over? If it's comfortable for you, well, then that might be something you might want to change. Just saying, because the instant you're comfortable in this reality is probably the instant you're doomed. So I would not recommend that to anyone or anything. Stay the course and keep moving forward. And it's the only path for me is one of aha moments or truth. And the more aha moments that I can get working, doing what I'm doing, that's essentially all I do. Is I'm looking for the things that go click and tie things together. Because once you tie the stuff together, you see the nature of it, and things start to really make sense.
Yeah, tonight it was like I was thinking about it, Kate, and I'm saying, well, we're in a 3D. We're in a three-dimensional universe, and a three-dimensional universe has 6 directions. So I'm saying, right, 6 directions, but there's, as I say, God, central point. We have a central point of us. Watch the movie, Donnie Darko, fantastic movie. Central point of us, Kate. The central point of us would be the Tau, and Greek, that would be the Alpha and the Omega. As you know, the Omega and the Alpha. You need to make the Omega and the Alpha the Omega, Kate, to bring, basically, as it says in Revelations, to bring thing way down, but it's to bring it within. It's all within, Kate. It's all within. Heaven is within. It's the Tau, the centre point. Find your centre point. They're not telling you this in the chapels, in the mosques, in the synagogues. They're going to moral stories.
And it goes back to the letter T, of course, with Phoenician, the X crosshairs inside the circle. And, during this conversation, I'm thinking, I have done the Phoenician starter kit. And while you were talking there, Paul, I can walk and chew gum. I just typed in YouTube Phoenician starter kit, and there it is. So I'll tell you what, as promised, the show is already done. I'm not going to do it again.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do?
Look at the Phoenician starter kit. That's it. No, explains it.
It's there. Already covered it, and I'll tell you, nothing covers it better than in the moment of being in the real time of it. So, not I couldn't redo it again. It's not a problem, but there's so much more I'd rather move forward on than stagnate on this. And that's not to make less of those that have asked about it. Well, here it is. I just posted it on Facebook. And I'm going to put together a group of links Thank you, Giuseppe, for being so diligent in titling these essay shows on YouTube. I guarantee you go to the site, if you want to know more about a particular essay, all you got to do is go YouTube and type in the essay title, and lo and behold, it came up on the first. It's the first search, right? So, and if it doesn't come up the first, then YouTube outside the box, whatever the essay title is, because I know Giuseppe has been extremely diligent, far more than I, in making sure that the episodes that, and he does them all, he gets them the next day and puts them up on YouTube and puts the title on them. So the shows are all there. And I said before, I am really, really tired of talking all the time and going over the same things. So I think that, for me, is going to be the best way to handle it. It's already done.
Yeah.
So let's
see what you were saying, Kate. Every letter can be silenced.
Mm-hmm.
Like, every letter can be silenced. The Hebrews tell you this. Every letter can be silenced when they put a crown on top of it. You see, that's what separates the Phoenician Aramaic alphabets, because they can silence every letter when they put a crown on top of it, and the crown would be the Kepha or the letter Shin. And that's also what I said would be the reference when Pharaoh was judged, and they sent a judgment on the city, and they put on Passover, and they put the lamb's blood. They drew a letter on the door. That would be the letter Shin. And if you've got any Jewish people who live round about, the lovely people, take a look at their letter. What's usually on their door, they will have the letter Shin on their door for protection. And that also reference Malkuth, kingdom, earth, as we are of earth. As you look at Kate, this is what that allegory is. We're of earth, clay. We have our bellies water, our chest is air, and our heads are fire. That would be the allegories to do with earth. You know what I'm saying? To do with that. And the memorial morte would be, remember, you'll die, and you'll go back to where you came from. It would be the earth, but you're not from the earth. Your body's from the earth, but your center point, your Tau, is no from here. That's of God. Do you know what I'm saying? Or you could say it would be the Matrix, Kate. You could be actually there, plainness, if you want to look at it that way.
Aloha.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
It does it, yeah.
Mike.
Yeah, we don't need to project it back out, and that's what tends to happen when we are, still perceiving things through time and space lens. It's a one perspective. We're projecting it out, putting distance again, where there is none.
That's what I'm saying. You're the center point. You're the center of the universe, Mike. You're the Tau.
And our definitions we create with our tongue, and our emotions, or the show and tell. We just stepped out, Houston.
Hello, Darren.
Namaste.
Namaste.
So to look at the, let's call it the structure of where we are, because, it's good to know who we are, and then it's like to say, okay, where are we? And this is the beauty of it. We're in the core. We're in the center. We always have been, always were, always will be. And it's like, why? How come? Because wherever you are, that's what it is. That's what it means by no separation. When you're no longer separated, measuring distance, you're like, well, wherever I am, that's where the center is, the core is. And that's all. Right?
Well, you could say too, Michael, when you look at your senses, like see your eyes, you've got 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, and your mouth makes 7. That holds, you've got 5 senses. That holds 4 of your senses are basically all in your head, mate. Do you know what I'm saying? Taste, smell, sight, hear, you can hear. There's your most senses. That's how your head's fire. And fire is, you could say, the reference in the Tetragrammaton, as a reciprocal spiral is fire. That's what hyperbolic, this is what the shepherd's crook is. When you look at inside the pineal gland, inside the brain, it's shaped like the Eye of Horus, the hyperbolic spiral of the universe, like your DNA. That's what that is referring to. You know what I'm saying? And that's fire, and you say the 5 points of the Tetragrammaton would be, how could I put this? If you want to look up somebody who would really explain it better than I could, I would say a Stan Tenen. Beautiful man. But he explains the Masons would call the dividing the circle. But he basically goes in and explains the tetragrammaton in this, and that would be your five senses with fire in the centre, and that's what the tetragrammaton is. Your head fire.
Yeah, what it gives.
You're made of clay. Yeah.
We're describing the old system to me. You're describing the cosmic program.
I wouldn't say. I don't know if it's a system, Michael. I'm just going what I've been reading. So it's up to others who.
I'll follow the cosmic program.
Basically, this is what the Bible's only telling you.
Yeah, a cosmic.
You're not telling you, but that's what I'm saying. If the centre of the universe is you, Michael, then you are God. You create this. You manifest this.
I don't. For my clear sight, and this is just for me, and I've referenced and I've done my research. What's coming clearer for me is to not connect we're categorizing again, and even though you're explaining how it gets categorized, how it gets compartmentalized, and we're saying, yeah, that's how they're throwing down the admin cosmic program, that you can put all of these in there, and again, you can get stuck in there. You can be the ruler of the certain sector because you don't want to move on, and that's what 7 so clearly explains. What we're getting at here is we no longer need to explain actuality through the old program, dogma. And it's quite clear. We can look at it and go, without referencing any book, source of knowledge besides self, and observing, to go, if there's such a thing as the galactic center or galactic core, and usually people would point out into space and go, it's way la-da-dee-da-da-dee-da. And I'm like, well, actually, if we're in that galactic center, we're inside that galactic center. We're not like on an outer arm as we've been led to believe, out in a spiral galaxy way far from the center. We're like, man, that never resonated with me, because we were only looking at it from time and space. We were only locked in that third, fourth dimensional awareness. We're out of that box. And so we have multidimensional awareness again, and we're seeing the interconnectedness of all things, where the core isn't just located over there. We're inside that core, and inside that is the earth, and we're inside that core, and inside that core is inside each and every one of us. So now this is the way of looking at things, for me at least, in a non-dualistic manner, a non-point of separation, to show how, quite simply, we're the core, and it doesn't matter which way you want to go with this. You can go, and because there's no
hey Mike, I can totally prove I can totally prove that I'm a god just by a simply silly little thing that happened to me today. It's just a little thought that we have all the time, and I know this kind of comes from a kid point of view, but I was just sitting here doing my laundry today, and with one push of a finger on 2 buttons, I washed 7 shirts, 8 pairs of socks, some underwear, and a pair of pants, and I wasn't even in the same room, and that stuff got washed. That's how powerful I am. My one little finger, washed my clothes for me.
And that's the
so
truth.
There you go. I'm a god. I am the center of the universe.
Yeah, and as Michael has chosen within what he shares with us, is he's chosen to be Alpha and Omega, 0 point.
Yeah.
That's what he's sharing. 0 point. You are the greatest tool to observe where you are at throughout space and time. You're the tool. If you can observe yourself, not judge yourself, not hold yourself to what they said. And we use that one, flip it around between both polarities all the time. You're the tool. Your mouth tells you exactly what you're thinking. I swear to goodness, there's no words that need to utter my mouth, and they will deliver their truth without a doubt. I trust them. I will not put my hand in their fire, and I will trust them that they're going to free themselves from what their thoughts are, because I'm giving them a safe, silent space, because I took that I and I bent it into you, and I said, let her out, brother. And just yesterday, walking down the street, felt a little storm coming up behind me, speeding along, a little man on his way to Christian school to have a talk because he just got denied funding that he's had forever, 10 years, his daughter at school. You know, he's pissed, he's livid. I'm going to see the preacher. He's trying to tell me that I'm not Christian. And I said to him, well, I see a little bit more of a living soul before me, but I just simply ask him, who are you to judge me? You know, they will, it's you. It's always you. You point out, look out. No, it's you. It's your choice every time. Accept it. Accept all the other points of view. Recognize the energies in that point of view. Determine, self-determine, self-correct. Is it something you'll choose? I love that, Kate. It's not something I'd choose. Enjoy. You know? 0 point, alpha, omega, that's your moment to shine every time. You bring that little spark of light in your heart that's waiting to explode into the truth and bring it into the zero of those crosshairs of that cross. You will slow the bounce and whip between the polarities of your brain, because that's what's happening to you. You're whipping back and forth. You don't know there's a bridge you can stand on and see your reflection in. It's just like looking over the bridge on a river. That 0 point on your heart creates the safe space, the space of love, the truth. Your lips will let you know when you're canting to do something or having a hard time. Your lips will let you know when you stepped out and defined another. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, because behind those lips is a lot of thought. And in that thought you will find mind loops where you are saying the same thing of yourself. It will be reflected in a spouse or another individual. You're going, you. You have this opportunity to be the omega, the start of what Michael chooses to share with us, what Kate chooses, what everyone chooses. And there's so many out there that haven't even come to the table. Hola. The ahas. Kate looks for the ahas. I feel the ahas from all. When Kate fires the table up, ahas all over. Goosebumply, truth bumply. Why? Am I special? No. I've chosen omega. I've chosen alpha. I've chosen 0 points. And that's the only thing the I gets to say, is I got the fuck out of the way. Bent it to you. When I say your, I shorten the Y and put a capital O. Yours. Truth awaits us. The hour is upon us. And the hour is every time you open your door, open your eyes, make a definition and catch it. And you will switch it. We all know the rules. We've all been bounced around, banged around. We've all dug our heads into territory that's not really for us, but it sure told us about us. And it's a gift every moment. Every moment you take that step into fear is a gift. Every time you stand upright and choose no name, win the game, a gift. Some people don't like to forgive. It means you did something wrong, but it's not. It's about admitting, accepting that I was the leader in that dance. No matter whether you're the winner or the loser in the circumstance, you're still the winner. You're the one. You know, people want to argue with children. You've lost as soon as you've engaged. No contracting with children, period. It's a rule. Yet you think you won because the child's crying in the room, being punished. We've been conditioned. Nothing more, nothing less. Only separation is created within you in the degree of vision you wish to hold. It's one step, one degree. It's for us all. And everything that's been shared here is beautiful. Even the meat sticky stuff, because it shows us. Yet, we're moving forward. We're intending. Our intentions are more powerful than ever. You know, Kate did that clearing thing for her last, she did off. Huge. Kids lighting up all over the place. Let's talk about the past. I want to go forward. I'm like the rest of the people who are wanting to go forward. Just peacefully residing in love, waiting for the rest of the forwardness. And it's worth it, because it's beautiful to watch it grow. The exchanges of late, just phenomenal. And I had one yesterday in my own backyard with a peace officer, and it was absolutely beautiful. Yeah, good Scottish lad. So we're moving forward.
Well, don't stop there. That's the fun stuff that people need to hear.
Yeah. Well, you know, it was none of my business. I was just digging up the root of a rose bush. And he comes traipsing in the backyard looking for my roommate. It's kind of fun. Who are you? And he pointed at himself like he was a police officer. Look at me, I'm dressed like a police officer. Well, I don't give a fuck. That could be anybody dresses in a clown suit. I said, yeah, who are you? You got identification? You know, I wasn't too impressed how he got revved up. Felt like the bull getting ready to go into pulling action. But essentially, he's looking for an individual and circumstances I'm not going to utter. But I shut the door behind him. He wanted to come in and whatever. And I said, no, I can't give you consent. You have to stay out here for a minute. And I felt him resist on the door when I was pushing it shut. But I made sure I pushed it shut. Click. And then I opened it and went, I can't give you consent to come in. He goes, well, I could break it in, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I wouldn't do that. You'd have to pay for it. I said, if you want to come in, you have to be patient. I don't want to see what I saw last time. And we had a nice little talk about what happened. And all the while, he's asking me my name. And I said, I don't have one of those. So if you need a point of reference, brother will work. And you're like, what? I said, well, my brother's not here. I'm telling you he's not here, but we'll go look. He goes, well, how's your brother if you don't know nothing about him? I'm like, well, I keep it that way. I said, unlike you, who has a job and has to be embedded, immersed in people laying their fucking heavy, poor, pitiful, non-accepting ways on you. I said, I stop them. I won't let it. Because I choose. I choose to say no. And he just looked at me like, what? I said, yeah. I said, that's why I have empathy for you guys. I have admiration to want to do a job like this. He's like, whoa, who are you? I'm like, I'm your brother. You know? He's the, who am I? Turns out the guy's not here. I was correct. But anyways, he needed after confirmation, doing his job. He tried to say he wasn't getting cooperation. I said, look, just because I'm standing upright doesn't mean you're not getting cooperation. I said, I'm cooperating with you, but I'm going to maintain my freedoms. His rights are for those who are ruled, and I am not. And he's just like, he drank it. He drank like a cool cup of water. He's not a bad man because he does service. Actually, he doesn't really understand what's going on at this point because I'm talking stuff he's got bits of. And he knew when I shut that door, the door was shut. He tried to resist, tried to tell me he could do it. And I told him flat out he couldn't. You'll have to pay for it. At the end of it all, got his card. We're going to have a coffee, I suspect. I imagine we're going to have some time with him.
It's amazing,
do I not only intend for it to be all and for all, I intend that we in this table will drum up the good cop, the one who chooses truth. That's my intention. Every time Kate says it, woohoo! That's why I like mute. It allows me to rejoice.
So I'll share some intention today. I was at an undisclosed location watching some lovely hula, and a friend asked me, so is your boy going to be going to school here? I said, we're here? Well, anywhere? I said, anywhere? Look, all these buildings are being repurposed. All schools and institutions are being repurposed. When's this happening? That's before he has to go to school, which is so-called soon in that game, in you guys' thinking. But for me, all of this is being repurposed. So we're going to be using these school buildings for something else. Definitely not the old paradigm mind control program of separation and duality and all that jazz.
A shared intention indeed, brother.
So this is how we can see the world as it is today and say, well, does it need this upheaval, giant transformation? No, it needs just our intent to change to true dream, dreaming true. And then you'll see how just from some simple things, just a few simple things, the whole world transforms. Because how we basically operate and interact with one another, as we've been sharing, it's no longer from fear, it's with love. And all that doesn't resonate with this goes by the wayside. And it's beautiful.
And that smile that you get to hold all day. Man, that's rough, tough beans, eh, Kate?
Well, pretty much. You know, and getting back to what you were talking about, Darren, as well. See, this is the amazing part, that when you stand in your power, and regardless if there's any sudden urge of fluffy, okay, that's okay because you're aware of it, all right? And it's getting it under control. That's the part that most people fail at. Locating it, that's damn near impossible for most people. But once you've located it, it's just an easy step to go, I know what that is. So don't think that you failed in any way, shape, or form if you have an emotional reaction of, I don't know, anger, fear, whatever it is. You become immediately aware of it. This is the game. When you become aware of it, I know what that is, then you push that away, and then you take that big breath.
Yeah.
And then when you're in that power zone, nothing can resist it. I don't care. If you're talking to a being that has a soul, the soul will hear you where the physical being will not. Stand your ground. Yeah. All it takes, when they're in your aura and you're in your PowerPoint, they are under your influence because your battery charge that you're putting out is 1,000 stronger than theirs, and you will envelop them, and that's the game. This is one of the things about for those that have really good intuitive or empathic abilities. These are things that we all have. It's getting our emotions under control so we can experience that. But when you start experiencing the emotions of others around you just because of their energies and what they're doing, when you're wide open, and this is what I've been experiencing for a long time, and it wasn't that long ago I was able to really get a grip on it and what I can feel, what comes in and what gets bounced away. So for me, it's very simple. Whatever is negative coming at me, it bounces, but I can spot where it is and what it is. And that keeps me I'm in my own center, but that keeps me even more in my own center, knowing that, because I experience other energies around me. And guys, you've all experienced this, whether you think it or not. Just become aware of it. I go back to someone walking into the room that you really liked and you've never met, and someone that you really don't like that you've never met. That's because what you're picking up on is their radiant energy. If someone's radiating hate and fear and all the rest of it, you can pick them out. They're actually the easier ones to pick out. But you can also tell when someone walks in the room that's full of life, because you're instantly attracted to them, right? Because they're giving out a positive energy, and if you're in that beautiful, empathic, negative, divine, feminine source battery of pure energy, 0 point, then you will be naturally attracted to that and to you. Those that are negative are going to get naturally repelled. That's how natural law works. So when you get your own battery into balance, your own emotional state, this is why I want to touch on this, because you made that one little comment regarding that you felt the urge come up. Yeah, we're going to feel that. Do not deny yourself this, because you're only kidding yourself.
Find yourself in grace in that moment.
Exactly. Find your grace. That's where you're going to find your center. Does it have a grip on you, or did it just give you a little brush? And for us now, it's a little brush, and then you can reel it back very quickly, and then you get into your center power, and the next thing you know, nothing negative can enter, and it's just going to bounce off like a bulletproof shield. And the positive aspect of that, if you're dealing with an individual with soul, is going to naturally be attracted to that. So, Darren, you're probably going to have some conversations with this guy because of that. So, well done.
Yeah, it was a beautiful exchange. I mean, it's been a while since I've had to, because, I choose not to. I've done my practice. Right? I like to be invisible when I walk. But it's the intent, I was more, my initial reaction was more involved with the roommate. That was the funny thing.
Yeah.
It was like, what we talked about this, no more of this. And you just got to be gentle with you. Just in observation, you're gentle. Like, if you ever hear yourself calling yourself, man, or duh, those thoughts that we get when we do something we weren't supposed to or didn't want to do, be gentle. Catch it and cancel it. Thanks, Kate.
Thank you. Beautiful sharing. I better check the board, see who we got. Oh, there's Bindi wanting to get in as well. Who we got?
Richard in Atlanta.
Who we got?
Richard in Atlanta. If Bindi wants to go first, I'll go after her.
Oh, it's all good. Richard, good to have you. So you're 770, right?
That's right.
Okay, I'm just cross-referencing. You know how many numbers I have to kind of have a look at to know who it is, and I do want to take the time to make sure I know who's coming in. So it's the area codes, and of course you've heard me. I've probably said the same area code a few times at the same individual, but still get it wrong. But I've got a few thousand to remember, so I'm doing my best. So, but anyway, go ahead. Whoever wants to jump in here, Richard, knock yourself out. Have fun.
Well, I'll yield to Bindi because I want about 5 minutes. I've got sort of a download from, I guess you could call it the Akashic Records. I just call it spirit memory, but I'll go ahead and let Bindi go, and then I'll follow her.
Well, there you go, Bindi, if you want to jump in here.
Hey. Richard, you're doing fine. You can keep talking as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, thank you.
Take the
All right. We've been talking a lot about the system, and so I went back and reviewed what it was that I had lost memory about. And I distinctly remember during the process of understanding how to give and take on energy. And you might call a world a certain limited amount of data that's put into a world because only so much information can be stored in one battery because of the balance of the universe. Now, what happens is, as I understand it, and I'm no expert by no means on it, but I do get the generality of it. You take this world, for example, it was once a very lush environment. It was full of animals. It was very tropical. And when the human population began to progress, you might even say at some point some of them got great minds, and they began to see that the resources could be harvested and utilized to improve our species, in that sense. So to make a long story short, towns and cities began to be developed from this process. Well, at some point, that which was on the ground could only go so far. So they began to mine. With all good intent, I'm sure, anybody who establishes a town, say like a guy named Madison in Georgia here, I kind of like that little town, so I'll use him. He gets a charter or whatever, and he decides to establish a town. Of course, he has to do the planning, and he has to get people around him, mostly family members. And they set the town up, and with all the corporation title deeds and titles of land and stuff, and it gets going good, and it puffs them up a little bit because they start getting wealthy. And as time goes on, their children are reaping the benefits of the prestige of all that. And then Mr. Madison dies, and the kids don't necessarily want to lose their power and their prestige. So they have to do things that they would have, rather than letting the town, disintegrate, they want to expand it. And so that's the way it is with energy. If you start overusing energy in order to sustain, is what we have right now. The big thing is, sustainability. What they're telling you is that all this should have went away a long time ago. That's where all the crime and stuff comes into the system, is because there's far more taking than giving back. And that's why we're losing species. That's why the pollution's there and stuff, because we're not giving back to the energy we took. And I know you're a pilot, and you flew over North America, and if you look down on the ground closely, you can see those mines, and they're like sores, and they're everywhere, and that was never meant to be. Sustainability is our enemy, and that's what the system has done to us, is that in order to keep a certain group of people, the landholders, in the lap of luxury, they have gone to every extreme possible in order to sustain that wealth and power. And therein lies the degradation of our planet and the suffering of humankind. And if one thing we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to accept the fact that it cannot last. It cannot last. We're going to have to give one person at a time, I guess, is the only way to do it. I often believe that the reason why there are so many people in this world is because Spirit keeps sending people in here, to bring that message. But, we all know what happens at the hospital. They're slapped, dapped, and put in a incubator, and And, from there they're owned, and whatever that child would have brought to this world is completely bottlenecked, and they're put into the system and forced to conform. And I think it's wonderful what you're doing there, Kate, with opening up this site for the kids, and I'm going to govern myself knowing that kids are listening, and talk in a way that moms and children would appreciate. Because I live in the Bible Belt, and I can tell you, I would love to be able to turn this show on with speakers in the daytime at my work, when I'm working at people's houses, and just let it play, hoping that it'll catch on. Because I've had some of my customers say, "What are you listening to?" But they usually, I don't think they're necessarily interested. It's so we talk on topics that are. Most of these people I do business with are upper middle class, and of course they're buried in the system. So I'm sure we're going to provoke thought to them that may make them feel, the truth hurts. It does, it hurts. But I'm willing to do it, because I don't think my contract with these people is worth the overall the betterment of mankind. And if they don't like what they're hearing, I'll turn it off. But I would like to be able to play it for them while I'm working, just like you would a radio station. And hopefully it'll raise some kind of awareness, like Darren here is talking about. This cop may come back to him and stuff. Anything I can do to get people to listen to this stuff, I'd love to do it. I've got several people in my family now that are interested, and I've got some friends that will come back and listen to it. Because they know that's why I come on the air. I say, look, I was on the air last night. Would you listen to the show? But mostly what I want them to do is to get the concepts, and just start implementing that. If they can just be protected from the viciousness of mortgage fraud. And here in Georgia now, they passed a law where when you go to renew your driver's license, you got to have 5 forms of identification that shows your address. Okay? They really want to know where you freaking live, don't they? And that's scary to me. That's very intimidating. That they want to know. They want to verify that you have a place of residence. And that's too much information for me. So I think we need to, get serious about making people aware of what the intent is behind the system. They're desperate. Obviously so. They're committing crimes on a grand scale. They're destroying people's lives in the mortgage industry. And, it doesn't look like they're backing off. At least, when they pass laws, it don't look that way. And most people just don't realize what they're seeing. You go to a bank counter and there's a sign on there that says, 2 forms of ID, picture ID required because of terrorism, and homeland security and stuff. You can see that they're approaching the future with intrepidation. And so everything I've stepped it up when I go into banks to cash my customers' checks. If I can't get them to pay me in cash, I go in there and I lay those letters down in there. I lay them on whatever desk no one's sitting at, and I lay them at the counters, and then I leave. And I do that when I go anywhere into other businesses. I'll go in. I'll just make myself do it. And when I drive by a law firm, I'll stop, go up, and hand a packet to the teller or the office assistant, and just say have a nice day, and then walk out and hope I can make it to the car before I'm stopped. That's what I do. And then of course I email stuff. But I think we do need to make a concerted effort to stop this as soon as possible. And I think going for the kids is a good way to do it, to go at the education system. I never thought about it, but, it is the supply line. It is. It's the supply line. And any of you pregnant women out there, you got to consider midwives. you really ought to. You ought to go that route. I know we've been trained to think that you got to have it in a hospital in case something bad happens. Well, I don't know too many babies that have been born. I think they just kind of naturally come, and if midwives know what they're doing, and they usually do, it's going to happen. So I know if I was young enough to, have my bride have a baby, I would definitely do that. I would not put them in the hospital and get them certified. I wouldn't do that. I surely wouldn't allow any of those shots to be given to my kid. And I'll stop with that right there. So I'm all in, Kate.
No, Richard, I already know that, my friend, and absolutely. And the overall textures of the shows are going to be morphing accordingly, where we've got the fire and brimstoners at the table already now, and this Gemini, don't worry. I know when. The thing with me is it's about removing all the charge on the language, but I also understand the level of understanding that people have, and the amount of power the ego has with a certain sound or a certain spelling of any certain words that might create some sort of a rise in their attention, if you will. So I totally agree, because what we're going to be doing now is, you're absolutely right, that people are going to be becoming more and more aware of what it is we're doing. That's inevitable. And for me, it is about getting to the life source. I mean, look, that's what the system does. It goes for the kids, right? If they can keep the kids indoctrinated and regurgitating the same nonsense over and over, like the rest of us were taught, and our parents and their parents before them, it's a very easy lie to keep continuing. So it's now we have the opportunity to break that lie once and for all. And I'm all in on that one for sure. And I love what you were saying about dropping things off and getting to the car before someone tries to stop. They won't anymore. But I often wonder the reactions. I've seen enough of my own personally, but I'd love to have a list of the facial reactions of every individual that ever got anything that we've sent to them through essays or documents, whatever the case may be, just to see the reaction on their faces. This is one of the reasons why this weekend I will put together a Did You Know for teachers and principals, and of course all staff. I'm not going to leave out the school boards and the trustees and all the rest of these political hierarchists somehow think they have the authority on knowledge when they're just as dumbed down as the ones teaching the same crap that's getting taught in the schools. So again, we're changing consciousness very rapidly, and you were saying about more laws getting that listed and that and the other. All that's saying is there's more and more corruption getting exposed. Every law written is a law to cover a previous lie. So that's when I see the laws getting ramped up like they have been for the last couple of years. It's not because of some lack of control in society. It's because the system is being exposed, and it only takes one to expose one thing within the system, and then they start writing all manner of laws around it to protect themselves. Again, that's standard operating procedure. The more laws a nation has, the more corrupt it is. And right now we're sitting with roughly 70 million laws on the books. That's a pretty corrupt planet, if you ask me, when there's only one rule. The golden rule. Yeah. That which you wish upon another, you've wished upon yourself. Mirror, mirror. Pretty straightforward.
Another thing I've started doing is I make sure that when I get in my truck, I go to my voice recorder and I put that window up in my phone. So if, and I'm not scripting, but if I were to encounter a police officer, before I roll down the window and talk to him, I would turn my phone on and I would hit record. Now, I don't have to stick a camera in his face, okay? I could just simply lay the phone between the legs And when he starts talking to me, I'll look at his name tag and say his name. Okay? And, of course, I'm not going to be defensive and, free man kind of thing. Less is better. But I would not yield a name, and I will not yield an ID. And whatever that does bring about, I'm sticking to that.
Okay,
so,
I just want to expand on some points you've made there, Rich. Again, I love building on what people already have to show how right you are. We all know the identification that's going to bring you into the Crown jurisdiction of the Commerce of London. The address brings you into the Vatican jurisdiction of the Universal Postal Union. But remember, there was a severing of these two entities early motu proprio, early 2013. Okay, so these are two entities that are completely separate. And you're going to find that cops are not going to be so adamant about getting the address because they don't have any spiritual aspect of power left there. Remember, that's the crowns have been divided here. And something else, too, just food for thought. Some clown-wearing uniformed goon wants to ask for your name and address. Well, I'll tell you what, seeing as you think you can demand that of me, what's your name and what's your address? Because, quite frankly, I don't know who you are. You could be anybody. I mean, even in Black's Law, it says that the fact that you're wearing a uniform makes you an impersonator. So let's just play it real safe here. I need your name and address before we go any further here, because there's no way I'm going to give you anything that might have you, I do not know, showing up at my place and potentially kidnapping and murdering my family. Those are my terms. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. So that's, again, the simple answer with me is, what's your name? Well, I'm me. Where do you live? Well, I live in this, right here in this body. This is the body I'm occupying at the moment. Wherever the body is where I'm going to be. So that's kind of where I live, Whether it's in a box somewhere with a number on it, it's irrelevant. It doesn't change the fact that, when you sell a house and move away, the address doesn't follow you. It stays where the address is. So why would I give you something that's potentially going to change? That was one of the jokes of that whole solitary thing. And then they wanted me to periodically check in with the court to let them know where I was. And my attitude was simply, screw that. My address is 7 Dalebrook Place. Whoever is living in there right now is an occupier, is an illegal tenant in the realm. And not only that, everything that they did was hinged upon kidnapping me out of a car because of an expired license, which, of course, according to the Ministry of the Attorney General, is not required. So I'll play their own rules against them. So this is the whole thing, that their lies are based upon lies, and the only thing they have is brute force and fear. And when you finally get past that, it took me a bit, but when you finally get past that, and you look at it for the joke that it is, this is one of the reasons why I'm conveying this the way I do every night. It is a joke. And for those that have experienced this at the same level I have, you know exactly what I'm saying, and you just laugh at it. And they truly are powerless. No name, no game. The werewolves run, because you've got silver bullets popping out of you, and you're reeking of garlic to the vampires. And that is your force field. It is so real that it is more real than this physical reality to me. Again, I don't have any issues traveling around.
Yeah, it's beautiful. You don't have to be afraid of your brothers and sisters out there from within your truth. Thank you so much for your sharing. Wow.
You're very welcome.
Beautiful, Richard, as always. You bring such a gentleness to the table, like so many. So thank you for that. That's exactly the energy that needs to get out there. This is a very calm approach that we do. We're not fighting here, guys. We're actually piecing things together and bringing the peace within ourselves to bring it without ourselves. And in that solidarity of self, in that beautiful 0 point contained within you in the center of your universe, when you get there, the world around you dances for you.
And it was humbling to hear that sharing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's that beauty that you deliver to yourself through grace. It's like gaining joy in a park watching another family play, and you're miles away from your own. That joy that you express in that moment, it overrides missing, delivers you to remembering. And it was a life not of your own. And that is a gratitude that God recognizes. Creation, Tao, Allah, tree.
Yeah, let me add to that. I've said this before. I think many people at this table found their way here because at one time or another in their life, the system had beat them up. I very much so happened to me, and I won't go into a lot of it, but there was a time when I was in the upper in the six-figure category back from 95 to about 2008 until the market crashed. I had a very successful remodeling company, and I had clients that were judges and attorneys, and my wife worked for an attorney. I was a card-carrying member of the Republican Party and the NRA, and I was very active in my church. I did counseling and Boy Scouting. So I was very outgoing toward the community and felt that I was doing my civic duty and being a good American. As I was trained to believe in all of those things, and I held them dear, and I still do the principles. I still hold the principles dear. But what I experienced while I was in the circles of judges and attorneys doing their work for them was the most outlandish behavior that was a complete contradiction to the office that I from the character I thought their office demanded. My wife would often come home in tears because, and I'm going to say this knowing full well that there are those out there listening to me that know this. She was the accountant for two attorneys, and her best friend was the paralegal, and they would insist that she cook the books so that they wouldn't have to pay taxes. And Leanne and myself were active Christian members of a church, and we did not violate the law. We strongly believed that you obeyed the law. And at that time, I thought the IRS was the law. I didn't know any better. So did Leanne. And she would come home in tears, and she'd say, they keep insisting that I do this. They're pressuring me to do this. And if I do this and we get audited and there's a violation, it'll be me that goes to jail. And I finally said to her, Annie, just resign. Just resign. And they got one of the attorney's mother to come in and take over the books. And from there, I don't know what happened. But I can assure you, and that's not the half of it. I could go into some of the sexual behavior among them was, it was beyond the pale.
Oh, we're well versed in all of the nonsense that goes on there, Richard. There is no explanation required. The ritualistic aspects of a lot of the stuff they do, totally get it, and it is a den of inequity, my friend. So I totally hear you.
Okay.
Thank you so much for that.
That's when I began to do the research to find out what was going on, and of course 9/11 brought a lot more enlightenment in that area. And the more I tried to put fires out in people's lives, the more burned I got. And it seemed like we were constantly trying to help people out of their misery. that they were bringing on themselves. So any message, I don't mean to say you don't help people, because I think it's a good thing to assist people when they're in trouble, if you can. But the best gift you can give them is the truth, and let them work their way out of it. If they're interested in the truth will set them free. If you come over there and get bogged down into their crisis, chances are when it's all over, you won't have them in your life anyway. So the best thing you can give anybody is the truth, and then let them deal with it. That's the way I look at it.
Yep. So do I.
Shared with you.
Mm-hmm. I've got a bit of a story to tell, or a couple, about the holding frequency, holding energy, and the step forward. A couple of weeks ago, I ran into a lady, or at least it seemed like I ran into her, or she ran into me. I had to go into town, needed some candles, so it was a little bit inevitable to have to go into the throng of Rotterdam City. And anyway, I put on my best smile, my Buddha smile, and just eased and cruised through the crowds, and I was actually enjoying myself, being quite... and then all of a sudden I see this woman with a facial expression of like 7 o'clock thunderstorm coming straight at me. And I thought, well, I'm so invisible, she can't even see I'm here. And when she was about a meter away from me, she bounced back. And she said, oh, sorry, but you walked into me. I said, darling, you didn't even touch me. You didn't even see me before you bounced off my energy field, so bye-bye, have a nice day. And she just stood there, dumbstruck for a while. So, yeah, if you want to know if this thing of being in your center works, there you go. Another bit of a less fun story is today I got a phone call from the police that they'd found my document. My wallet was stolen a couple of weeks ago, and I thought, well, the last cards that were carrying my dead fiction identity was gone, and I had planned to burn them ritually on the 5th of May, which is here is Freedom Day of when the Second World War stopped. So I thought I'd just use the symbolism and counter the other shit that's happening here in the same period by burning it all. But that job was taken out of my hands because the wallet disappeared. Anyway, the cops called. We found your how do you call it? It's just because I've got the Australian identity, or had. His passport's gone already. The Dutch made me get a special ID card that gives me permission to be here. But after I'd lost that thing, I thought, well, I'm not going to go and get a new one because it's just all the same ID game again. But anyway, the cop called and said, we want to question you because we're wondering why you didn't come to us and tell us it was stolen. I said, well, the only thing that's stolen is in your property now, so you've got your shit back. What do you want from me? And he said, well, am I speaking to Bindi Yadada? I said, well, it depends. He said, depends on what? Depends on if you want to speak to the living entity or to the legal fiction that's dead. The last one can't speak, and the living one can't hear you right now, so what do you want? Yeah, no, we want to see you at the bureau, la 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 la. I said, mate, it's not going to happen. Yeah, but we're going to come and pick you up from your house. I said, even that's not going to happen because you can't find my house. Yeah, but we've got your address, and they just kept coming with program, and all I did was just smile back through the phone and think, whatever, leave it. And, well, they are still telling me that tomorrow or Monday they're going to come by the house and pick me up for questioning. So, we'll see what happens, what the lemons are going to do. I don't think they'll get anywhere. I'm pretty sure they won't, but, yeah, there's a nice little test thrown at me.
Oh, I already know they're not going to get anywhere. I mean, and just to give you an example of the power of that silly little card, coming back from Ireland with my daughters back in 2011, I was asked because, I was in Ireland, right, and never got citizenship, and they want people to get this silly little card to say that, you're here legally. And when the girl asked me for this particular card, I just looked at her and I says, "What the hell do I need one of those for? I live here." Oh, okay, have a nice day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, that is the literal power. I hate using that term at all because that's the illusion of power they have, and it's all contained in the agreement to being what is on the card or whatever the case may be. When you know who you are, none of that shit comes into play anyway. And you already know that, Bindi. You've known that for longer than most people. Yeah,
but it's the not giving rise to the aiding and abetting, because my first reaction when I heard the man announce himself was, "Oh fuck," and then I cancelled that immediately and just breathed and went to that zone. But yeah, but it's still a test because there's a little ego in me that wants to clock him on.
Well, that's a Scorpio. That's why I love you. Come on, you got the stingers, baby.
I'd love to just grind some balls to the floor, but nah, I won't. It's a waste of energy.
Exactly. And besides, how long have you been in Holland?
Since I was 10 years old. I left for a couple of years to Scotland, came back, so, most of my adult life, yeah. I'm 42 now, so that's fun.
Yeah, I was going to say, okay. I would call you Dutch. Australian doesn't even enter the equation, okay?
Yeah, except for the accent here and there, but no, there's a bit of it left.
Where about in Scotland, Bindi?
What?
Where about in Scotland were you?
Perth, mate.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice day, innit?
I was born in Perth, WA, Australia, and lived in Perth, Scotland for a couple of years. Yeah, awesome.
Huh.
Edinburgh for a couple of months too. Edinburgh.
That's a nice day. Very Masonic though. Very Masonic city.
Oh,
it's the most Masonic city in the world.
Mhm.
So it's the Masons who built Washington came from Edinburgh. They built Edinburgh and then they all went to Washington and built Washington. That's a fact.
Mhm. Yep. Figured that one out too. Yeah. The whole
Royal Mail and that in Edinburgh.
On the Egyptian Mile, hell yeah, that was obvious. Yeah. In the face.
Some strange things in Edinburgh. The Heart of Midlothian.
Pardon?
Another strange one. The Heart of Midlothian.
Yeah.
That's a strange one, like.
Mm. Exactly how, and the dried loch in the middle of Edinburgh. That's why would you want to dry a loch? You need the water.
Yeah, you would know R4C in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bit of a story behind R4C, like.
Mm.
That's why it was called R4C.
Right.
Yeah, it's to do with King Arthur. So they say King Arthur was the first king to unite all the tribes of Britain, all the Brythonic tribes, and he was the first to be crowned on a stone.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and they hid the stone.
Yeah,
they hid the stone. And basically what happened was, they say they lost it. We don't know, but that's why Arthur's seat was called Arthur's seat, because he was the first king to sit in that stone, the seat, you know what I mean, coronation seat, who united the tribes and all of that.
Yeah. It used to be outside Stirling Castle, and then it moved to some kind of a chapel. What's it face? The one from Da Vinci Code. Whatever chapel, and then the
Rosslyn Chapel.
Yeah, Chapel. And then the British stole it and put it in their throne, and they still believe it's
there. No, it was actually in Dundee. And it was Scone Palace in Dundee. That's where it was from. The best person to talk about that would be Hughes Cash. That's he knows the history of his town. Yeah. I know what I go talking about Hughes Cash's work, but that's where there's a town in Dundee, and it's called Jacob's Hill. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Jacob's Hill, referencing the pillar again. But there's funny stories about Roslyn's more to do with the 12 knights who went in the first crusade, the very first crusade. They went looking for stuff. And they brought the original Templars.
By now, all these groups are the same dickheads. Biobot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's all the same shit. And all the details lead to one thing, Rome. Anyway, yeah.
Well, I think it all be...
But when you...
Magic Rome.
Yeah, but when you draw deeper into Scottish history, without, per se, the called culture, where there was no spoken language, even before Ogham, there you'll come closer to the original energy of what a life would and could have been like had there not been this synthetic control freak cap put on everything, a crown.
The druids, it was the druids.
Back to the crown where we started, right?
Yeah, exactly, Bindi. That's couldn't have put it any better. When you start to looking at it, as soon as crowns and kings come in, that's when it goes downhill.
Yep.
It's gangsters, isn't it? It's just gangsterism.
Yeah, a cactus, and not necessarily even the head, but the kneecaps. They took the whole Christ consciousness and retorted it and contorted it and turned it into demons and devils and gave it names. Done with that.
And now we light our crown. Now we light our crown and observe ourselves and the knowledge gained and turn it into awareness to stand taller and shine brighter in darker places.
Well,
that's the gift of the past. That's where it belongs.
Yeah.
I have to jump in here, guys, because we got just under 12 minutes left until rollover. Not sure how long we'll go, but let's keep this rolling. Well, I know there's others that haven't even jumped in yet. So, great thank you to Paul Giovanni, the crew at criticalmassradio.co.uk. You know the routine. If you can help in any way, shape, or form, be it intentful or transmitting fiat into pure energy, whatever floats your boat and whatever you're capable of, getting the job done. The intent is the most important of all. For those that do want to jump in here, you can call in at area code 661-467-2401. And, of course, you can Skype in. I'm just double-checking the Skype call-in number. Bindi, you have that one handy? BTR listener tonight?
That would be 027.
Okay, BTR listener 027. Thank you, Bindi. For the shortcut, all you do is put that into your search on Skype. Hit search, and when it comes up, just click it and hit call. That'll bring you directly to the table. So great to have you. We do have room for a few. So if you feel like you want to carry over with us, feel free. That being said, let's keep it rolling here. I have one in from area code 166. It's an international. So, and someone's got their speakers on. I'm getting a bit of an echo. Just a heads up. There we go. That's better. Oh, hello, Bob. How are you?
Yeah, feeling much better today, Kate. Just being really gentle with myself, just focusing on healing, and I had a great night's sleep last night, which is really fantastic. And I haven't got anything really to share today. I just sort of connected for like a positive energy boost, if you like. It's the parasite in me, but I do have a couple of dishes that are simmering away in my spiritual kitchen, and they're almost ready for me to bring to the table. So they're simmering away in my spiritual kitchen, and when it's right, I'll bring them to the table so that everybody can get a taste. So I'm just happy to sit back and listen and chime in if anything gets sparks a response. So I'm enjoying it, my friend. And thanks
Perfect.
for all the loving energy that people have been sending.
Well, that's what we do here. This is how the nature of the game. This is how we change it. One good deed wipes out 1,000 evil. So that's all it takes. That's all it takes. Hey, Michael, are you still there? Mike.
Obviously not.
Oh, must not be.
Wash dishes, Kate. Washing dishes.
Oh, okay. All right, go carry the dishes. Oh, what am I? Bindi, can you watch the? Have you got the board open where you are?
Nope.
Okay, well I'll give you the floor. I just need to pop away for a few minutes, but I'll be right back.
Yeah, no worries. Was that Mike in the background I heard? Nope.
Well, he's washing dishes.
Okay. Oh, poor thing.
He's meditating right now. I love doing dishes.
Yeah, it's good. It's a nice way to keep your hands clean anyway.
No one ever bothers you at the sink.
No, that's true. Nobody else wants to join in.
That's right.
I had this amazing visual of what Kate said a while back that were I forgot what she said, but anyway, the visual was I could see our galaxy spinning faster, and I thought, churn it up, and then scum will just fly off.
Yeah, a centrifuge.
Instead of speeding up the Earth, let's do the whole bloody galaxy, because there's enough shit out there to last us so long. I just want to get done through it all.
Well, I mean, everything is as it is to be. I mean, acceptance allows shit to be what it is. Someone choosing poorly or not recognizing or accepting their truth within themselves. So in that moment, I mean, this is a TSN moment. To define it as shit.
Oh, true. But
to recognize a definition that has led you from your truth in nature.
Yep. But my nature or my truth is to rile up shit every now and then. My whole idea is to be the bomb in the pond, to jump in and go poof every now and then. That is my truth. And it's not to correct or to tell people what to do, but it's me being me.
It's a stir in the pot.
Man, I'm the fox in the chicken coop, you know? I'll chase after him.
I'm vegetarian.
Vegetarian fox, yes, that too. But the
Go
chickens
ahead.
know that.
My dad what?
Oh, yeah, my dad always told me that I was a shit disturber.
Yeah, holla, holla.
Yeah, a shit kicker. That's what they called me. You little shit kicker. Get out.
Well, that's right, Dad. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Meow.
This is one man from 775.
Hi.
Hey.
Okay. 7-5 is alive. Yep.
Filler boots.
Good. I'd like to share. It's kind of an old experience that I had the last time that I renewed my driver's license. It's a commercial license and driver, because I've been a commercial driver for 15 years. I went down to the driver's license division, and of course, I also studied law for about 5 years, so I got to know all the rabbit hole bullshit. But I went to renew this license, being permission to do something that is otherwise illegal, right? But anyways, so I'm down there, and I filled out my paperwork, and I put a P.O. box down as my address. And I also scratched out the male box where it says male or female. I scratched out male and wrote man. And so when I took the application up to the window, the gal says, she says, we can't process your application without an address. And I said, I put an address down on there. And they said, well, it needs to be a physical address. I said, well, you can physically address me here. and she says, well, no, I need a permanent address. And I said, well, I'm not dead yet. I said, I'm not permanent.
Brilliant.
So she says, okay, well, like, where is your home? I said, well, I was told not to tell strangers where I lay my head at night. And so she just standing there with a deer in the headlight look, and she said, well, where do you get your mail? I said, oh, well, if you wanted to know that, that's the P.O. box that I put down there. And I said, that's the address for my person. And so she was, dumbfounded. But she said, and so she left and she went back to the office. And it took me 7 hours, by the way, to renew my license. And but I was just having fun. I enjoyed every minute of it. But they went back to the office, and she came back. She goes, she said, you scratched out male and wrote man. Is there a difference? I said, absolutely. I said, a male is an animal or a slave, and I said, I'm a man. So, yeah, there's a big difference. And so, okay, well, all right. So she went back again, and this went on for hours, like I said. And she finally comes back, and she said, we had to go all the way to the top to get you approved to have a license.
Oh, let it work for it, yep.
And we are the crown. You are standing in your truth as much as you're being a little shit disturber. Or pardon me, let's clean it up for the kids.
Yeah.
You're exploring the adult world. Because it is really an exploration for children. Too fun.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I had a blast there. I had another experience too where I was forced at gunpoint to stay on live tracks, but and this individual was trying to ask for my birthday and get information from me, and I said, well, he says, well, what's your birthday? And I said, well, why would I tell you my birthday? I'm not going to invite you to my birthday party. No, I'm but I've been having a lot of fun with my being and living in the now and knowing who I am. So I just wanted to share those little funny tidbits.
And that's awesome.
I like the way you reversed the runaround.
Well, and it's not just a runaround, Bindi. It's a spelling. He's spelling in a state of joy.
Yeah, of course it is. But you're giving them
that's
the runaround.
That shows the intent. That actually carries and opens up the space within your bubble to carry that intent in that space where you're creating a greater effect on what's before you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, I like enjoying my movie too, so I really, really dig the idea that, because usually as a dead citizen, you're the one having to run around and go through all these layers and prove that you are exactly the legal dead fiction that they want you to believe, even though they know you're not and you don't know in the beginning. But once you do know, it's the other way around. They have to work their ass off to keep you in check, they think. But, yeah, love it.
And that's the lemming, the underlings, the ones who don't know what you know or their masters know. They're caught in the middle of the mix, not knowing.
Mm.
And that's scary to people.
Yeah, probably.
And that's the moment you really have to be centered and be gentle. Extend that gentleness.
Yep.
And it's a gift. It will pay off in tenfold, 100-fold.
Yeah.
You'll get the result.
I like to add a bit of what I call Mr. Miyagi humor. Let them run, let them sweat, and then the chances that they'll start thinking, why am I doing this? What is going on here? And then you just might reach a little further. But if I don't, fine too. But a bit of the wax on, wax off humor I like, Giving people the run around until they start to think, why am I running? And what is this? And what am I running around exactly?
Oh, exactly.
Just running circles around who?
Yeah, and that's all within their own body. That's a mere reflection of what's happening energetically within their system. Their acts and what they're on about will direct you to which chakra and which system, and I'm not just talking about the 7 chakras, where they're out, and that's the gentle of being able to observe, because it doesn't take long observing some way, and you'll be able to see how you can redirect it. Mm. And this is dream time with Michael, This is astral time with Sivan.
Sure, I get that. But I'm doing the out of box and then get back in and then affect the script.
Yeah. Well, this isn't just about you, it's about all.
I'm not interested in the astral plane because that's where, as far as I'm concerned, all the mind traps are situated that we've created collectively together the last, couple thousand or more than 10,000 years. So the astral plane is not really my favorite ground to dwell in. I'd rather go bigger picture, cosmic, full-blown out, zoom out. The astral plane is just a mucky layer around the Earth that is, or allegorically, that is full of all the ideas coming from religion, education, science, and whatever mindfuck else you can think and label. So, but it just might be definition of words as well here. But for me, astral plane, nah, thanks. I'll go surfing on the cosmos.
However you want to define it, I don't know. I don't know your experience.
Yeah.
Yet, what I refer to as astral realm, or neither here nor there, I often call it, because I don't know what it is. I don't have a definition for it. I don't need it. I feel it. I experience it. Mm-hmm. There's no definition to love.
Yeah. Well, that's why I clued in.
I don't need to
difference or experience difference. But anyway, my latest
and it's a gift.
Zooming in and zooming out in more than one place at the same time. It's something new.
And I never wait in lines. I could bring you testimonies of people who know I never wait in lines. Mm-hmm. And I'm standing right beside them. Strangers in front of me, behind me. They'll hear me. I'll see it, sense someone who's just ready to and I'm just like, yeah, I stopped waiting in lines years ago, and there I am standing, right? Tweak, right there in the moment. Tweak, anyone in earshot. Tweak. What do you mean you're not waiting in lines? Of course they're asking the question in their head. I don't even have to pay attention. And the individual I'm talking to, I simply say, yeah, I just take it as a moment to enjoy, breathe, do nothing. It's a rarity in this word. And well, holy cow, you want to see some shoulders drop in the crowd? I think there was a half dozen at least that went, oh. Yeah, it's a gift for us all. In a moment.
Yeah.
It needs no definition.
Yeah.
It's just a point of reference to a perception that's there, capacity that's there, a gift that's there. I mean, we use it for everything else. Why not use it for the direction we want to go? I kind of giggle, the moth. You only find the male moths dead around a light bulb.
Hey, guys, can I jump in here for a second?
Give her. Please do. Give her any time you want, hon.
Venus, I was on last night only for a minute. I just wanted, I'm not sure how long the show runs, but I did want to tell when Kate gets back on so she can also hear.
I'm right here. I've been back for a while. I just had to pop away for a minute. That's all. I just want to make sure that someone knew that I was away from the helm for I think it was 2.5, maybe 3 minutes. I'm never too far, so go ahead. Lots of time, so don't worry about the time.
I've actually had a great success using some of your stuff and, of course, adding my own creativity to it. My neighbor / friend / landlord, if you will, don't really call him a landlord, hence the word lord, but back in December he came to me and asked me, because he knew that I had extensive hours in studying law, so he asked me if I knew anything about civil law. Well, I asked him, what are you trying to accomplish? So he explains to me how he's been paying his ex-wife about $4,500 a month for the past 7 years, and he's supposed to pay it for 8 more years, and he'd like to stop that. So I said, oh, yeah, that's easy. I just canceled a marriage license based on fraud, which cancels the divorce and any agreement after that, right? So he asked me if I'm, willing to help him out and do it, and I told him he'd have to do some things, of course. And so I come back, and I take some of the stuff, some words out of some of your writings, and I put them in a letter, and I add my own stuff to it, and I send it to his ex-wife. Well, I give it to him to send to his ex-wife, certified mail, return receipt. And he sends it to her, and she text messages him after she gets it, saying, are you sure you don't want to change your mind? You're going to be in contempt of court, blah, blah, blah. You're supposed to pay this. And he's like, no, don't want to change my mind, right? And so I explained to him that she's definitely going to take it to an attorney, but the way I worded it made it so attorneys couldn't get involved. So he gets a letter from, about a month later, he receives a letter in the mail from his attorney. Well, we don't open the letter. I take the letter and I send it back with some more of your stuff and my stuff together, and we just return the whole thing back to the attorney. Same way, certified mail return receipt. A month later, we get one from her attorney. Same thing. Well, then I explained to him how if someone comes, who are you, how do you answer, you know, we're speaking like constable, sheriff, someone to serve him. And so he knows not to say the name and that he, you know, there's no one here by that name, and basically just close the door if he's dumb enough to open it. Well, I happened to be in Utah at the time, and he was in Nevada, where we currently are on the land. And he calls me, and I'm out there taking care of my grandfather, and he says, Venus, I fucked up real bad. Sorry. Anyway, and I said, what did you do? He said, the sheriff came to the door, and I opened it. And he said, they asked me if I was so-and-so. And I said, what'd you say? And he goes, I said yes, and they handed me a summons. Exactly what I told him would happen, right?
It's amazing, isn't it? Give them a name. That's all they need. You just got to agree with it, and you're in the Narmer Pallet curse, and they own you until you clear that. Go ahead, hon. This is good.
Summons. And I'm still in Utah, so he has to wait a little bit for me. But I come back, and I do some more stuff. Mostly this time I'm using stuff out of your I'm the witness statement, okay? And I add a little bit, just a little bit, because that much pretty much covers everything on that one. So I take the summons and I add it to the I'm the witness doc, and it's Jane Doe versus John Doe is what I put in there. And then I reference the case number, of course. And then we sent it back to the clerk of the court, certified mail, return receipt, and, of course, with no address on the letter, just on the back of the green card going to general delivery. And not in the name, of course, either. And the next thing he knows, we didn't open the summons, but he didn't get to see it. But I was able to get it open without it looking like it was open. So I opened it and read it and knew when the court date was scheduled for. So they were asking for him to reimburse all the money that he hadn't paid for these 5 months, and for him to continue paying the $4,500 a month as agreed in a divorce decree, of course. Well, I sent that back to him, and the day comes and goes. Well, Jay decides that my friend decides that he's going to not be in town when that happens, so he goes to Utah, right, on the date, because he's thinking they're going to come arrest him for not showing up for court. And he comes back, and the next day I call down there just as like a third party of interest, and I call the clerk and I asked her what happened. She says, well, they denied the motion and the order to show cause and the whole thing, right? And he should be getting the copy of it in a couple of days. So I start reading when he gets the copy. I start reading what the order was. They denied everything that they asked for, including a warrant for his arrest for failure to appear in court for contempt, and stated he shall not be charged with contempt. So they got nothing out of him anyway. They got plenty out of her, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure. That's the game, right? And when people fully understand this, remember, anytime you get anything from any of these idiots, cops, lawyers, courts, whatever the case may be, it doesn't really matter to me. It is always involving and centered around one thing and one thing only. And this is where you really got to get it sunk into yourself. And I get tired of hearing from people, well, I got this in the mail. Did you? Well, I guess I didn't get that. You did. And then the conversation go on for a minute, and it says, and then this thing I got in the mail. You see, that is a contract. Every time you do that, you're recontracting with it spiritually. So this is why you've got to be very mindful and slow down. Become fully aware that anything in the legal realm is all dead. If you agree to it in any way, shape, or form, by something as simple as I got this in the mail from so-and-so, you've actually created the contract because you're saying that is you. And when you finally get this very, very, very subtle, absolute defining line, this is when you're home. This is when you make it. You've got to change your mind, your whole way of thinking, or you are going to keep stepping back into this the curse, the Narmer palette that's going to keep you fighting to get back out. Sorry, I don't get anything in the mail.
Right. I don't either. In the mail, I pretty much don't get anything anymore. The only problem I've even had. I know a lot.
Hang on, Venus. What you just said there, you contracted again, because this is how subtle this is. You really got to pay close attention to this. You have never in your life up to this point ever received anything in the mail. The only thing that ever came in the mail was to the dead legal fiction. Is that you or is that not you? So tell me now, what have you ever received in the mail? And you will never receive anything in the mail. Never.
In the mail.
See, the mixed sticky part about it and why they have these lemmings out there, or whatever you want to call them. I call them brothers and sisters. Some of them are wares, whatever. But within the law, they're functioning within bonds. These peace officers have a $5 million bond through 4 bonds. Please look at the allegory of it. Let's not get mixed sticky. I don't bring it up for a reason.
The glue, the spiritual glue to your meat stick, okay?
That's right.
That's what makes meat sticky. Thank you, Paul, and thank you, Darren. I love when you guys bring that word in, because that's exactly what it is. Your meat is sticky. It loves to stick the soul to.
Yeah, and so you got to realize, and you got to recognize that these individuals are functioning under 4 bonds, and they have insurance, and they have coverage. But when you realize the golden egg that Kate lets you just walk by all this waste of time of thinking about it into your truth, what happens is you become unlimited, superseding their bond.
Huge.
They have limited liability. You have unlimited liability. See the allegory. Don't be mixed sticky. Because I don't say meat sticky because I'm a water sack.
There you go. Someone jumped in there.
I do have some in the shake,
one sec, Bob. Somebody jumped in for a sec.
Yeah.
Who was that? You?
Me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's Bob.
Yeah, you didn't sound like Bob when you jumped in.
Okay,
yeah, you usually ask for you usually wait for the feather.
Okay, we'll tell you what, guys. Bob, hang on. Before you go here, I'll hang on just one sec. I want to finish a thought off here before we lose this train, okay? This is such a delicate track that we're on. Now, Venus, let's go back to when the sheriff showed up at his door. What did the sheriff ask him?
If he was so-and-so.
Okay, now, there are 2 answers you can give here. One, if you say yes, you go through this nightmare that you're going through right now, right? And all he had to do at that moment was say no. And it all disappears.
See, I know that, but
I know. This is not. I'm telling this for everyone, hon. We got lots of listeners. Everyone needs to know this beautiful truth. And this is what I'm telling people that are worried about foreclosures and whatever. If they come up to the door and they ask, "Is this so and so?" You say no. Close the door and walk away.
And it works.
Sure it does. It's truth. That's why.
That where they had a warrant for his gun.
Yeah.
And one man and I were at the bank, and they had a warrant for the name they wanted me to answer to, and we were actually kind of set up and framed. So when we had gotten to the bank to use a notary, this was a while back before we had completely severed the name altogether, but I still didn't have identification in the name. Anyway, they show up at the bank to collect who they think is the name, so to speak. And she starts saying that she knows who I am and she knows where I live. And I just looked right at her. I says, you do not know who I am, and you do not know where I live. And at that time, she had my private identification on her, the one that I use to still function, but it's not state-issued or anything. And she had it in her hand, and she was writing some information down off of it. So I snatched it from her hand and told her, I did not give you permission to write down my private information. So we turned, one man and I just turned and walked away when they were standing there to collect on a warrant for the name, and walked right past them. They didn't follow us. They didn't even leave the building.
Okay, let me just clarify a couple of things on that as well, because there was at least 3 situations. If you try that now, there's at least 3 things that you did there that automatically, or was more than 3, but that you will now get grabbed for. Okay, I don't care if it's a library card. If you have anything attached to it, mentally, physically, or whatever, that is enough spiritual joinder. I don't care if it's an expired health club card. I don't care if it's an honorary membership somewhere. Okay, that is the power of the agreement we have spiritually. The simple fact that she had something that she could write down what could be assumed, whether you argue it up and down or not, that you're not the legal name. The simple fact is it's not about the physical connections here, guys. It is about the mental ones. You have never had any identification your entire life. Chew on that one for a minute. You have never received one thing in the mail your entire life. You have never owned anything that was ever registered. Car, truck, house, children, you name it. If it was registered, you never owned it. And if it is registered, you don't until you know how to make that untouchable. System owns concept and numbers only. When we agree with that system, we are saying that those numbers are the very things that are real. And it is, again, this is strictly a mental thing. The physical is the effect. So let's get out of the effects for a minute here, because people talk about this too often. And I hear all the time. And it's always coming from a physical perspective. Lose the concept of the physical and start seeing where you're connected in the agreements of that is my name, or that was, or that is my account. These are spiritual contracts that are bringing you back to the Narmer palette every single time. Loki is the trickster of tricksters. And we have been conditioned for lifetimes into falling for it constantly. And the only one-trick pony they have is exactly what I'm telling you right now. Any agreement that you have mentally with that legal name, this is why I'm telling people, if you really want to kill this, change your name. Give yourself something that is not even remotely close to anything you could ever imagine to be your name. And whether you tell people or not, it's irrelevant. But that, when someone says, is this your name, you're always going to, without any reservation, answer them completely 100% in the truth. No. Because you have your own name.
Beautiful.
And you don't have to tell anybody this. And again, you can't tell anyone your true name, because that's the frequency that's going off in your head right now. So let's take that very spiritual sound that you're hearing that is a true you, and let's give that a moniker that you can bring into the physical if you wish. That's entirely up to you. This is the joy of being me. For me, it's simple. Kate is simply Ka, spirit, T, the law of truth and consciousness, or love, right? So it's a spirit of love. That's why I tell everyone, you're all Kate. Tell me you're not. You're all the spirit of love. It's a pretty simple concept when you stop and think about it. So that being said, you've got to retrain yourself back into a state of no name. And if this is what it takes for you and some people, then please take the efforts to do it. Because once you get this in your mind, it can never be taken from you. That spiritual contract will never be breached again, even if you do slip up. Because you've already set the parameters of your contracts. If it doesn't involve that wonderful little name that you've given yourself or that sound frequency that's your own, then it has nothing, I mean absolutely nothing to do with you. Remember, business is a state of duality or a state of being double. I do business with anybody. I'm straight up, right down the center pipe. Here it is. Deal with it or don't. It's not something I would do or that's something I would do. It's a real simple choice. No, that's not my name. You haven't got a clue as to what my name is, and if you think I'm going to give it to you, to take it right back to the gamete interfallopian transfer gift, see, there's another one. Give your name. It connects right back to that conception again. That's the boat they hijacked. It had 9 months.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, go ahead, Brandon.
Brandon, yeah.
Yeah, Brandon.
Hey,
I didn't get it out. It didn't get out fast enough.
Doctor Who, for UK listeners and fans of Doctor Who, never gives his name. If you notice that, so anybody that is watching that in the anagogic and allegorical levels and all the levels, just notice that he never gives his name. Anyway, I was on Mark Passio's show last week, and I gave a shout out for Gaia and the show and everybody in the table, and told him he's welcome back anytime, and got the trivia question right, so check that out. So it was a lot of fun. Love you all, and big busy weekend and week. So
good stuff, man. Greatly appreciated.
All right.
And 321, your mic's open too. I just love
Hi,
saying,
Ocean Lady here.
I just love saying 321 blast off.
Yep, Ocean Lady, Sunshine, whatever you want to call me. You must revoke it.
Yes, revoke, to give your voice again, or to revoke.
Take back or withdraw, cancel, reverse, rescind, repel. Yeah. See you later.
Well, let's,
bye.
Hang on. You did a whole lot of words there that I need to spin out backwards. Rescind? No thanks. Phonetically?
Rescind.
Simply hand it back.
Bye. See ya.
Okay. Revoke. Well, revoke means to say no to something, but it also means to vocalize.
Right.
To redo. So it's the same word with completely opposite meanings, and it's the same sound. So I'm just going to clarify. What was the other couple of words you used there? Let's kill these ones out of the gate. I've done a couple of these before, but let's refuse. Withdrawal. Okay. Well, most nameaholics have. Yeah. Most nameaholics have a hard time with withdrawal. Annul. Well, that's anu el, which is the heart of the masculine intent, which for the Baal worshippers is exactly where they want to be in Canaan, the left mind, El. So let's we got that one cleared up. Okay, so I'm just neutralizing these so that whatever you're using them for, as per your intention, is the one that carries. Give me another one.
The other one was repel.
Oh, repel. Well, that's to reclimb, right? Excuse me. What was the other? Withdrawal? Just withdraw L. So I'm sorry. I don't color with L. Sorry. Okay. So there's another one. So
and
repel,
rebuke.
Rebuke key. So that's saying that you when you rebuke something, that you're saying that be you the keys to my reality. Okay, so now we just get rid of it.
A lot of defense position in those words.
Oh yeah, well they're equals and opposites. Yeah. Every word is. And some, the lawyer ones are the most blatant.
Yeah, certainly. Those are the ones when you hear quack, duck.
Yeah. So anyway, carry on there, ocean goddess.
It's my toroidal field of love on Earth. How about that?
I like it.
I had the police show up at my house when I had they're pounding at my door. I'm sound asleep. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning. This was a while back, Kate, like a year and a half ago when we just got into the whole name thing here before I called in or anything. And so it's 10 o'clock, 10:30 in the morning. They're pounding at my door. So I'm like, what the heck? So I get up, I go pee, naturally, throw on some sleepy pants, and I go to the door. And I got my dog with me and the bird. The bird's sitting there, and the fish, of course, are in the fish tank. And so I look out the window. I'm like, I'm yelling, who is it? Who is it? Who is it? And they're not answering me because my family lives all around me. And they wouldn't answer me. So I finally get to the door, and I look out, and I see 2 police officers standing there, right? So I'm like, how can I help you? They're like, open the door. I'm like, no, how can I help you? They're like, what's your name? I said, what's your name? They said, what's your name? What's your name? What's your name? What's your name? I said, who are you? Who are you? Who are you looking for? How may I help you? Are you peacekeepers? How can I help you keep the peace? Who's here with you? I said, it's just me, fins, furs, and feathers. How can I help you? This went on for like 40 minutes. They said, well, we can't hear you. You have to open the door. I said, I'm not opening the door. I took my blinds, the pull-string horizontal blinds, and I fling them up. I'm on the other side of the window, right? I'm like 5 inches away from them on the window, right? I'm like, you know what, guys? I'm going to have a cup of coffee. I said, I'll come back in a few minutes if you want to play around. I just hope that nobody is looking, getting hurt because you're wasting time with your procedures.
That's harassment, man.
Exactly, right? And so I go in the garage and I have a cigarette and a cup of coffee and I come back out and they're still there. I said, seriously. I said, you guys are at the wrong house. Well, we're looking for a silver Chevrolet. I said, there's a beige Chevy and a red Ford. I said, do you see a silver Chevy here? Well, open the door. We need to come in and talk to you. I said, you don't need to talk to me. Who are you looking for? How can I assist you in keeping the peace, please? Meanwhile, my pit bull is just wagging her tail, what's going on? The bird's on the top of the cage ready to attack. Never mind the dog, the bird. Watch out for the bird. Anyhow, they wouldn't go away for 40 minutes. They're going to take the plate off of the back of one of the cars, right? They come back, and they said, all right, Dana. I said, there's no Dana here. And they're like, you're not Dana? I said, no, I'm not Dana. They were at the wrong house. I said, you can't see that car's not silver? I mean, this is how dumb they are. And they couldn't see me or hear me through the glass window? Seriously? When they asked me what my name was, I told them my name was Sunshine. I said, you can call me Sunshine.
You know what's really funny about that, and I don't want to get literal on this, guys, because this can get into literal real quick, right? But let's stay with the course here. First off, look at the level of color blindness they have. The thing that got me was, open the door, we can't hear you. And I would just say... they said to me, this is one thing they did say to me after about a half an hour. They said, she's having just as much fun as we are. I quote. That's a quote. She is having just as much fun as we are. Yeah, well, again, that's all they're doing.
And this is why I brought up the bonds. They are getting paid to play the act.
Yeah.
Recognize there is activities that you're unaware of. Accrual accounting, neat, sticky.
They were here for the lady down the street for whatever reason, but they were at the wrong house. Everything was wrong that they had.
It's beautiful what you stood in. I just see the love you stood in, the truth, the law of truth. That's all. I'll have coffee.
Yeah, simple fact. When they're pounding away on the door and you're talking to them, and then they're saying to you, "Says, well, open the door, we can't hear you." And I says, "What? You've been talking to yourself for the last 10 minutes? You can hear me just fine."
That's when you should have seen the way I put Kate. You would have pissed your pants laughing. I mean, it was like a comedy scene here. When they said, who else is here, I said, just me, fins, furs, and feathers. They just kind of looked at me dumbfounded.
Yeah, truth has that effect, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fins, furs, and feathers. Love it.
Yeah.
When you choose that, when you're in a state of remembrance, you choose that what's present in your realm. You can answer that way. That's the beauty. She loves her bird, loves her dog. The dog's totally calm because she's totally calm. If she at any point felt threatened, I'm sure little Peaches and Cream there would have tore her leg off.
Oh, no, Shotzi, she was a sweetheart.
Yeah, she was reflecting your truth. She was your evidence in your space, your fine familiar. She was reflecting your inner truth. I've watched it. Dogs are very dialed in.
Oh, the animals know. All the animals in the neighborhood, they run away to my house. That's a true story.
Yeah.
Whenever they get out, they come directly here. People call me up. Is my dog over there? Yeah.
Oh, I just got to do a quick check here. Venus, you're on the 775 area code, yeah? Are you there? Did I lose you?
No, Venus is not on 775. 775 is somewhere in Nevada, I believe.
Oh,
Venus,
okay.
Utah, I think, somewhere in there. 775 is our friend. He had a commercial license. Told us a story about that.
Okay.
That's both of us.
Can you hear us?
Oh, there you go. Both on the same line. Oh, yeah, nice head fake, guys. No wonder I get confused on the board. Who the hell? What? Huh? Nice. Okay. Anyway, Venus, just want to let you know Clarity's going to want to get a hold of you. Is that okay to get a hold of you there? What's that?
Metaphorically.
Okay, I can't hear you, hon. You're going to have to get closer to the mic.
I said, is that a metaphor? I mean, or someone you're speaking about a being?
No, Clarity. Yeah, Clarity. She's been on before.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
In the Long Island area. So yeah, okay. No, just to let you know, going to be one of our very perfunctioning Kate's Kids Cove organizers. Yeah, we're not going to be calling anybody teachers. We're going to be calling them organizers.
Gracious.
Yep, and 903, your mic's open. You sound great. How are you doing? Okay. Hello, 903. 903. Okay, we should put her hand up, but anyway, there you go. That was fun. That's the kind of effect this show has on people. It makes them dance and sing.
Then she starts screaming. Woohoo!
That's the game, baby. That's the game.
Hey, just as a slight observation, you just said instead of teachers, call them organizers, which I think is an excellent idea. I was just wondering how many of them are a fixed sign.
Well, that's it. Organ, eyes,
yes.
Ers. Yeah, it works great. Oh, the aura of the spirit mind with eyes of consciousness through spirit breath. Orcon I Sirs. I love it. Works a treat.
Yep.
I'm going to try 903 again and see if we get lucky on this one. Ready? Because we only got about a little over 20 minutes here, so let me try 903 again. 903, are you there? Hello? You put your hand up. You're the only one that hasn't said anything yet. Can you jump in? That almost sounded like something. Are you there? Okay. All right. Well, we'll just mute that one back up. Okay. Anyway, yeah. What do you guys want to finish up with here tonight? Because I don't want to get too drawn out on this, but some great information, Venus, and of course, Sunshine. Love it. And Richard, of course. The game here, guys, is a very, very simple one, and you know we know this. The trick for me is to explain how ludicrously simple it is. And it is all in your mind. That's where all contracts are signed, sealed, and delivered with the universe. This is why it is beyond critically important that you slow down. And I mean get deep, get dark, get quiet. And if you're going to have thoughts, span your letters out like this, okay, or words. Get into the habit of doing that, because it will stop you from reacting immediately through the habit of language. We got to take off the nun's habit here. Okay, you got to get naked with the truth. So take your time with this.
I am naked.
Well, that's you and Barnaby. I get it. You know, it's all right. You're in a place where you can be. I love it. Privacy, your own boat. Love it. But you know, to keep the point going here, this is so incredibly important to get. Slow down and think of the things. Simple terms like "I got something in the mail" is ownership of that name. So tonight, maybe just grab your crayons and some paper, and I don't care if it's a symbol or a shape or a word or whatever it is, but give yourself 100% plausible deniability. When someone asks you, is this your name, where you can answer them 100% accurately when you say no, because you are the only one that should be naming you. No one else can. That's the illusion. Demons love the names that they give us. I don't accept any demon name. I'll create my own. Thank you very much, which I did with the initials of the other name. Pretty funny.
Hey.
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It's Richard again. I'd like to bring to bear something about the mail and you know, my growth in this development, and I'll be quick about it. My brother-in-law has been married to my sister for 30 years. He has been in the military and as an officer in the Army Reserves, and he just recently retired. He graduated with high honors from VMI, and he is a history major. He's a fine father, and he's been very good to my sister, and he and I have had a wonderful relationship for 30 years. I respect the man immensely. Having said that, there was a time when I'd come back from Minnesota that I had lived with my sister, and I had my address changed. And since then, I've long since moved. But occasionally, I'll get a letter sent there. Well, the other day, one of our fine alphabet agencies here in America sent a letter to her. And, of course, she called and wanted me to come get it. When I came and got it, she asked me, she said, are you in any trouble? Because it was from the IRS. I'll just go ahead and tell you. I said, no, Gail, I'll handle this. And so I took it. Well, she knows how I have not been a taxpayer in over 7 years. And, you know, she's worried about me, you know, because she's in the insurance industry. And so she called me up that night. She said, we need to go have dinner. And so I told her I couldn't make it, but come by her house. So about 9 o'clock that night, I came over there, and her and Tim was sitting there, and it was unusual because they didn't have the TV on. So I knew they wanted to talk. So I sit down there, and I said, what's up? And she said, well, we're concerned about that, about the mail. And I said, well, being that I don't live with you no more, and I don't subscribe to an address, if any more letters come, just simply put on it, return to sender, address unknown. And you could see a sigh of relief on her. She was like, okay. And Tim said, well, not to get in your business. He said, but let me ask you something. He said, and Tim's been raised as a Baptist. And he said, why do you feel that you shouldn't pay taxes? And I said, Tim, I'm not, there's no law that says I have to. And my labor is mine to do what I want to, and I stand on that on principle, not because I'm trying to deny anyone their just due. I said, you know me as a contractor, I always live up to my word. I said, but I'm not obligated to pay taxes by any law, and I don't want to be a citizen of their law society. So therefore, their mail does not apply to me. And he said, what about the verse in the Bible that says, render unto Caesar's what is Caesar's? And I said, well, that's true. I said, there's another verse in the Bible that says you cannot serve two masters, and you cannot serve God and mammon. I said, is that not true? There's two verses there against that one. I said, and if you think about what is Caesar's, I said, the only thing that I would say that the IRS sent me was a letter, and I send it back. So I have rendered unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Okay? And he said, if it was me, I would go ahead and, if I was obligated, I feel personally that I should pay. And I said, well, that's your position, and I won't argue with it. And then I said, but I will say this, Tim. I said, in the days of slavery, when slaves were leaving the plantation and getting on the Underground Railroad, as it was called, which was a series of houses here in America that were safe homes that the slaves could go to as they made their way north. These people, if it had been found out, they would have been hung on the site. But they did it anyway to liberate these slaves. I said, in hindsight, Tim, you know dang good and well the country honors those people for standing up against the tyranny of slavery. And he nodded his head. And I said, likewise, I said, when the Jews were trying to escape Nazi Germany's clutches, the people of Holland and all around the world, all around Europe, were housing these people, knowing full well if they had been found out, they would end up in the same prison camps as the Jews themselves, if not killed on sight. And I said, and we look at those people as being heroes. I said, I feel that this generation is facing something very similar, and I stand with those who did what they did in history to free people from bondage. And I'm willing to take whatever risk that is. And being the honorable man that he was, I could see in him, he lowered his eyes, and he looked down at the floor, and he didn't say anything else. And when I got up to leave, he stood up, and he shook my hand. So
that's the magic.
I take great responsibility in what we're doing. Great responsibility. And I don't play around with this stuff.
You might have heard me once or twice say to the death, and I mean that. While there's breath in my lungs, while I stand, I don't care where that is, nothing will get by me. That's where I stand. That's the only position I have. It's the only position I want. It's the only position I'll ever take. To do otherwise would be lesser than God in the grandest sense of the word. So, no, I turned my back on Mammon, on Babylon, whatever you want to call it. And Richard, what a beautiful story to convey, and especially in the way that you did with your brother-in-law and sister, because you conveyed it in such a way that was very real to them, where it made sense. And I'll tell you, the seeds that you planted that night are going to resonate for a long time. And there's going to be things that they will have to discuss and think about. And you were absolutely right by saying, render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's. Well, Caesar sent it. Caesar can have it back. No harm, no foul. There you go. That's pretty straight up truth to me, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, just that was an aha, capital A. Just to support what Richard said.
Go ahead.
Just to support what Richard just shared. From my own experience, I live on a boat, so I have a post office box, and there are communications that I expect, And so when I go to my post office box, if I don't recognize the communication, if I do not consciously choose to contract it with it, I've just got this little sheet of sticky labels. So anything that I do not recognize or do not wish to contract with, I just put the sticky label on it, and it just says addressee not recognized, return to sender. And I have a very, very quiet mailbox. And this has been working for me for about 5 years now. So I choose what I contract with. And, yeah, it's working for me. And,
Yeah, it will. Again, even with a contract name to the P.O. box, that you're making the aware, conscious decision because you've changed your mind about that. One of the things that I found extremely effective, I've passed this on before, you get something in the mail, just write deceased on it and throw it back in the mailbox. Strike through the address and write deceased on it.
Yeah, and
telling the absolute truth.
Yeah, there are occasions when some communication comes through, and I can't really see through the covering to determine its intention. So I've developed a nice way of sort of steaming the letters open so that I can actually view the content and resealing them. And if I choose to consciously contract with that communication, then I will. But if I don't in that moment, I seal it up and put the old sticky label on there and just render and deceive what it sees as.
Okay, let me remind everyone again. I don't want anyone to think that they can accept or refuse a contract at the mailbox. It's already a contract when it gets there. The mere fact that the mailbox exists says it's a spiritual contract. And you can paint this any way you want. This is why you've got to get your mind right about this. This will clean your mental line so there is nothing connecting you to it. But remember this, anything that comes in the mail, it is deemed contract upon sending. This is why I use the same rules against them. Every email I send, I don't need a response. It already has life. I don't need any more added to it. So it is contract when I send an email. It is contract when I'm on the air. It is contract in everything I say, do, think, be, and have. And that is it. And when you get into that moment of now and that sheer, clean PowerPoint, you're going to start to understand the power you wield. When you send, it's the contract. But until you understand that you are not the legal name in any way, shape, or form, that power is going to be diminished to the degree that you're still not fully getting it. Like I said, that applies to everybody. Applied to me, it applies to everybody. So be very mindful of everything you think, everything you agree with. And if at the end of the day you're not quite sure if you were on top of it, I just simply wash the canvas. Any contracts made today unknowingly are nullified here and now. Anything of a benevolent intent will always carry forward because that is my only intention and the only thing that I will contract with. Period. End of story. Sleep well.
Yeah, thanks for that, Kate.
Rest well. Good night. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that, Kate. Thanks for that, Kate. And I'm really content with who I am.
Oh, I know that, Bob. Again, this is when people bring things to the table, I'm grateful, regardless of what else might construe it to be positive. I don't give a shit what it is. What I'm looking for are the concepts to make sure that people are walking that line and knowing where it is. I'm only here to point that road. You walk it, not me. I'm already walking it. I just show you how to stay on the straight and narrow. And it is all mental in this universe. So change your mind, change the universe. And the more you regain control of that absolute beautiful center line that is you, the more power you wield around you. I'm seeing this from my own experience, as are many others. This is experience talking, not theory. Remember, I will not talk of anything in theory. We might have the occasional thing come up in the show. Oh, well, I'll have a look at that. And then I'll go off and I'll do my own thing. And I'll check the minefields and what have you that might be in there. But everything we do at this table is based on experience because I don't want anything but the Christ consciousness of experience at this table. The theory players, well, you can go hang out with the legal schmeagles and what have you.
Yeah, I agree, Kate. Because what I can share comes from my experience, and it's a beautiful journey and a beautiful road, and I'm just loving the way everything's unfolding for me, and joyous to be part of this spiritual collective. Words are weird, aren't they? Love you all, and there's some things I choose to do right now. So, sweet dreams, everybody, and I'll catch you on the morrow.
Yeah, sweet afternoon, and happy skinny dipping with Barnaby. Much love.
Yeah, well, I'm going for a swim because it's good exercise for my shoulder. Get out of my head, Kate, because you're already in my heart.
There you go. That's where we all live. Let's hang out. It's a warm place to be,
Oh, it's beautiful. Okay, catch you guys.
Catch ya.
Good now, everybody.
Good now, indeed. And just Richard, for the record, you can listen back to this show, and you might be maybe surprised. Who knows? Again, I just use words as I need to use them to get the points across. But this one you can play for anyone in any Baptist church anywhere.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Hey,
yes,
one more
Who
thing.
cares?
On the website, on the Facebook, on my page, and I think it's on Kate's too. I did send it. There's a video of a lady who was a juror in an Illinois case where a man was refusing to pay income tax, and he was found not guilty by the state of Illinois. She was a juror, and she tells a story.
Nullified it, right?
I'm sorry, what?
Did the jury nullify it?
They found him not guilty, and the judge got up and left the bench. Okay? Because he knows damn good and well that it would be that case right there that would tell the American people that they're not liable for federal income tax or state income tax.
Right.
Period.
Okay? So he was under a lot of pressure to get that jury to cave in to a guilty verdict, and this woman stood her ground in the deliberation and displayed to the rest of the jurors how the law in Illinois is only contingent upon federal law, and there is no federal law. So you can come to my Facebook page or Kate's. I believe it's on hers. I know I forwarded it. And I couldn't pull it up right now, but it's on there. And so there is a video about it.
Cool.
Yeah, just scrolling down. Is it the Josie Outlaw one?
The lady's wearing a red dress, I believe, a red shirt or something.
Just scrolling down right now.
Let me get on my computer here. I'll have it
on there.
Again, this will be a very helpful tool for those that are really stuck in the matrix, that are nowhere near where we're at. So, but just be mindful when you're sharing this stuff that it is all literal, and if it involves legal or lawful, it's nonsense. But the point that we need to make here is people need to see the corruption and the sheer nonsense that the systems have been up to. Okay?
Yeah.
Can I say something quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Just don't hang out there too long is what I want to say. But go ahead.
I'm sorry. Going back to the beginning of the show when everybody was discussing about man and the raping of the planet and what's going on, Bill Donahue on his homepage, like about 10 days ago, had the cutest little video, and it's on YouTube, and it's 3.5 minutes long. It's a cartoon, no words, fantastic music. It's called Man. So if you go to YouTube and just type in Man and look for the cartoon,
we've brought that
fantastic.
one up quite a few times here. That's a great video, and it's good. That pretty much outlines, and well, you see how that movie ends. Wouldn't want to be that guy. There you go.
I just sent it to you, Kate.
Okay, thank you. I'll just refresh the page and.
It's jury finds U.S. citizen innocent after being tried for not paying his taxes.
Okay.
The lady in a red shirt.
Oh, you put it on the discussion page?
And I forwarded it to all my friends. It came from, let's see here.
Okay, well, we got about 2.5 minutes left here, so it's okay. Don't worry, we'll get it out. But guys, any last comments you want to make before we roll out, and we'll continue this tomorrow night?
Sure. If you need more evidence of not needing to pay income tax, you can always call me. I haven't paid in since 07. They don't touch me. They leave me alone. They don't even attempt to contract with me.
1996 is what I think the last time I ever paid anything.
Exactly. We are the evidence. We are the witness of that, right? So, no need for any fear, any document, proof of contract, none of that. They're looking for the name. Are you the name? No. Done. I love you all.
Or plead the fifth. Don't even sit silent. Stay silent. That's my thing. Silence. Good night. I love you.
You're loved right back. Looks like we lost a couple of calls there. All right. Well, listen, let me just wrap things up here. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, just one real quick question. Do you like the liquid spirits by any chance?
On a very rare occasion. I do enjoy Irish whiskey on occasion, or a glass of wine or Guinness, but it's not something I really partake a lot of anymore.
Yeah. Well, and I'm getting less, but I'm just curious, and I haven't tried it yet, but I'm just curious how the I Who Shall Not Be Legally Named would work in a liquor store.
That would probably work great. Nicely done. Good idea. Start handing these things. Beautiful ending. Love it, guys.
You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Yeah, good evening. Welcome to Outside the Box here on Friday night. criticalmassradio.co.uk. Yours truly, Kate of Gaia. Lots of wonderful things going on right now. Looks like Kate's Kids Cove is getting well and truly set up for the kids to be able to teach each other and teach themselves, and it's going to be an interesting future we have. It's beautiful. Just wanted to share a couple of things, and again, I just want to scroll back down here. I'm just going to try to have it ready, but I had to reboot and a few other things here. But a little continuation upon the White Knight story here, the true White Knight, not that other nonsense crap. The 8-year-old one, not quite. She turns 8 in a month, which, well, of course, Gemini. Gemini doesn't start for a bit. I would know that because I am one. Where are we here? I just want to share Wayne's story, and here, let me just get to, you guys will love this. And Edward, I will get to the Phoenician starter kit tonight. That will be, I love this one first. I think this was great. Thank you, Dee, for this share. I was approached by a teacher, very serious face after school. Ted cut his hair. Oh, no, send for the police. Honestly, I laughed in his face and said, well, it's his hair, not mine. His best friend cut his tie, and his mom laughed, too. Stupid effing tie anyway, we both said. They should all cut them all up and put them all in the bin. Couldn't agree more. Yeah, that's the UK system. Get them into uniforms, Start them uniform early. That way, everyone gets to be the same. You see, here's the thing. There is a big difference to being equal and being the same, right? We can all be completely ourselves and be equal at the same time. See, it's a singularity. So in order to be completely different from everybody else is really being who and what you are. It makes all of us equally the same in the same way. So this whole tunnel vision that people have been forced into with the indoctrinations of the school systems and what have you. I mean, have a look around. The whole society that you're walking around in is based on this codification of uniformity. I mean, cops, military, they get uniforms. That's one form. So you're all the same. It's all cult worship is all this is, right? Clergy, if you're of a certain religion, you all wear the same uniform, bankers and lawyers, they all wear shirts and ties, and of course you get the funny looking lawyers with their robes and stuff along with the judges, and none of them know how to accessorize to save their lives, quite frankly. Never wear match shoes. But there it is, uniformity again, right? The business world, it's all about suits and ties and pantsuits for the ladies. Got to make them more masculine every single day. Well, if you're going to act like a guy, might as well dress like one, right? So, but the uniformity, guys, is a problem that we're dealing with on the grand scale. And, no one wants to be any different than anybody else. That venue. As far as homeschooling, wanting to be involved in that, maybe, and we have teachers as well. So for anyone that is interested and want to get involved in World School, which is going to be headed by the children, where we get to make sure that things are kept out of the mainstream as far as the way the garbage that we were taught growing up. It's going to be nice to share with the children that the Holocaust was a hoax. It's going to be nice to share with the children all of these lies that the governments have told us, all of the same shit over and over and over. Because, if you repeat the same lie often enough, people eventually take it as verbatim. And, a lie is a lie. And that's the joy of truth. When you tell it, you never have to worry about watching your back. It's kind of cool. I think it's really neat, personally. Like the story goes, you tell one lie, you got to tell 10 to cover it and 10 to cover each one of those. So choose your paths wisely here. But again, great job, kiddo, and I'm really looking forward to the play-by-play. And Borean had also mentioned about, I'm actually hoping to hear from Borean tonight as well. But there was a post here. Here, I'll share this, and I'm really loving this idea. It would be awesome to report Saturday bitch night with Kids Cove. And I'll start doing some live field reporting with kids at the local mall and movie halls. This is a great idea. This is how you get the kids involved, right? Et cetera. Probably even going to start right here in the neighborhood. That's all it takes, Gather the kids around and let them know that this is their world, and we're here to help them take their world back, right? I don't see any other game worthwhile here. I really don't. If you can find me one, let me know. But I looked, and the only thing that's going to make for me a worthwhile world is when the benevolent consciousness fully regains it, which it's doing, and these governments and police and all the rest of this crap and nonsense energy, physical fear porn stuff that follows with it, gets eradicated completely once and for all. I always go back to the ending of the movie The Last Mimsy. For those that haven't seen that, I would highly recommend you watch that and pay very close attention to the allegories and the things that are going on. It's a very poignant story, especially the very end, and that's the reality I see. And we're there, guys. This system is crumbling down around itself. Every good deed destroys 1,000 evil ones. And that's all we got to do. Just keep your heart pure. This is anarchy in its purest form. This is heart rule. This is where you're taking back the rule from the programmed mind back into the uncorruptible heart. Because if someone is living in the heart space, they are uncorruptible. There's no, or incorruptible, whatever way you want to put it. They're not corruptible at all. Right? And, well, there's that rupt, core, rupt, heart, rupt meaning tear, heart tear. No, the hearts cannot be torn. And you know this. I'm not telling you something you don't know. Every night I don't tell you anything you don't know. I'm just here to remind you, as I've been reminding myself, of who and what we truly are. And great job, guys. Beautiful job, Lightworkers Media. Giuseppe, I love the. Oh no, you're different than everybody else. Yeah, so good. It would sure be boring if we're all the same, don't you think? I think that would be quite disgusting, personally. Anyway, here's a post from Wayne. A little announcement. I was able to go out today and picked up Borean's computer, and it will be on its way Monday. Got him a little Minnie Mouse and a headset as well. I love that Minnie Mouse. Get it? It's just a small retractable cord on the mouse. Very small, handy. The laptops, the little touch pads can be a bit of a pain in the ass. I'm much faster with a mouse than I am with that touch pad. And could never set the sensitivity. Besides this little notebook of mine, I've got an HP notebook here, tiny thing. The touchpad hasn't worked since I replaced the keyboard. But anyway, here it works just fine though. I got the mouse and I got everything I need. So this is why it's just beautiful to be able to start helping others. I have fought for so long to get into at least this position where it's like, okay, we got some resources. Let's disperse them where they're needed. I'm tired of people in the past prior to my getting here, parasiting. Literally, I mean, I won't even get into it tonight. It's disgusting how much you give people only for them to turn around and steal from you. So fine, that's what you want to do. You obviously miss the abundance, and well, you know the rules on that. When you miss the abundance, you get the curse 1,000-fold. Sorry about your luck, but that shows it. But here we go. I don't play light ball here. This is from Wayne. This is the update. White is really going for it. I asked her what you're going to do next week in class. And, well, she said, I'm asking all the kids and friends, what do you want to learn about? And I'm going to be playing music, some jazz and classic and some of Kate's, but I'm going to play it low. When she said the next thing, my eyes filled up. She said, we'll be going outside and playing a game of who you are and who do you want to be. So I said, how do you play it? Well, she said, Jesus didn't sit in the wilderness for 40 days and nights fighting the devil. He was in his mind fighting this is an 8-year-old, okay? Less 7-year-old turning 8, okay? Let's say it for what it is, okay? So here's what she said to her dad. Well, she said, Jesus didn't sit in the wilderness for 40 days and nights fighting the devil. He was in his mind fighting his ego with no words being said for 40 days and nights, sitting in a circle with his disciples, and he was in the middle of the circle in his mind. But we don't have 40 days and nights, but we have 40 minutes to try it. I said, how do you know that? And she just smiled and said, I just do. And she said, you do know you're going to try and stop us. And off to bed she went. I'll let you know how it goes next week. See, that's the shit I'm talking about. That's the level of consciousness awakening. The youth are awake, guys. You got to be the one to pay attention to this. And how many times did you hear as a child? Well, children should be seen and not heard. Go to bed. Go to your room. And by the way, Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and the rest of these things are real. Yeah, okay, Mom. Okay, Dad. I get it. We all did the same thing as parents. We ain't doing that anymore. That's a load of shite. Is what that is. But definitely wanted to share that. A lot of other interesting things going on as well. Ninja set up the Facebook page for Kate's Kids Cove today. And we've got a little group set up on Skype for people primarily in that trifold. So there's actually a couple of trifolds now up on the site, the one that I put together. And by all means, guys, take the templates and make them your own if you want to do something local for your area. Remember, everything on my website is our website. And anything that gets put there is yours. Do with it what you will, what you need to do with it. All right? This is why we have so many people. We've got people doing translations now. Just got another, I think I mentioned it last night, Babylon Has Fallen, translated into German. This is the stuff I'm talking about. This is where each and every one of you with your special human trick, perhaps you're bilingual, you can make a huge impact. Because here's the thing. When someone is reading Babylon Has Fallen in their native tongue from the concepts that have been shared in their native tongue, you're giving them the aha moments. That's what you're doing. You're actually giving these people, these beings, back their power of truth when they read. So do not underestimate for 1 second the power you have, the power you are wielding. Every seed planted turns into a tree. Guaranteed. Just plant the seeds. That's all it takes. And then we get the kids going at this. I don't know about you, but word gets out that there's a world school for the kids that that they get to choose their topics, that the things that really interest them, and this is where this is going to get pretty wide in scope very quickly, where kids get an opportunity to really get into the things that they love to do. This is not about what they have to do. Well, you have to learn this math and you have to learn this English and blah blah. I can't remember the last time I ever saw someone working at a potter's wheel with a calculator. In some parts of reality, if that's still part of the physical manifestation, yeah, I could see math as useful. Those that really dig it and really want a part of it, but that's their special human or spirit trick, right? And this whole idea of thrusting everything down every child's throat is the worst form of education you can get, because if only 3 or 4% of what a child is getting is something they love and resonate with, just like the supposed junk DNA, the rest of the schooling is junk. And talk about wasted energy. Oh, but you've got to get the grades, you've got to get this, and you've got to get that, and no pressure on the kids. How many times have you heard the stories of kids that don't like English, for example, or they don't like math, or they don't like science, whatever, and they get poor marks, and it brings the entire thing down, of course. And what's it do to them? It takes their spiritual beingness down. It makes them feel. You see, that's the problem with competition. It creates a winner and a loser. I'm only interested in creating winners all around. Because here it is in a nutshell, where people can sit back and say, wow, Kate, the guitar and all the rest of it, that's really awesome. Well, that's one of my tricks. I'm not one to sit around and, on occasion, I love to watch other musicians and what have you, to be inspired. If I want to get inspired, all I got to do is turn on a Toto video. Those guys rock the universe. But anyway, just for sheer talent, it's just sick. I love it. But I want to look at other people doing their awesome tricks. The outstanding things that people do, the rock climbers, the skydivers, the whatever. It doesn't matter. I won't put any category, because on occasion I'll just be leafing through the net, and I'll be looking specifically for crazy awesome things that people do. And these videos show up on occasion from time to time. And I just sit back in total awe of that point of me being you, This is how we inspire each other. It's like, wow, that's really cool. I wish I could do that. In as much as there are people out there wishing they could do what you can do, that you probably take for granted, I don't take writing and singing whatever for granted. But it's something I do. So I'm really apt to go out and keep watching the same thing that I do, because that's boring, right? Plus, I don't want to taint what it is that I do too much, right? I just want to, observe. But, watching, these kids and whatever flip out on the BMX bikes and skateboards and rail jumps and, the kids that jump building to building and from crazy heights and whatever, it's like, that's the shit I'm talking about. That's like, wow, look at us, and reveling in that. It's beautiful. There are people out there that are amazing green thumbs. I mean, they touch a seed and it basically starts bearing fruit in their hand. There are people that are like that. They're natural. Just that's their thing. That's the energy that they bring. There are people out there that can invent and come up with some crazy awesome things. I mean, look, our whole society is based on a monetary system on lack and loss. That's what the whole monetary system is. You're trying to tell me that there's a shortage on the planet? Well, no, the only illusion there is the shortage of money. So you better go out and earn some more of that so you can have some of that while we rape the planet for more of that, So Get rid of the money middleman, you'll be fine. And as soon as you get rid of that in your mind and heart, you realize just how duped humanity has been, for how long, where we've given over our creative, literally our creative God ability to someone, something, dark principality, whatever you want to call it, that is offering a big bag of nothing called money, illusion. They print it out of thin air, so whatever. And we say, oh, you want my God ability? Okay, well, here, I'll register and give you my soul. And contract's contract. I just changed my contract, my point of view on that. But this is where we get to celebrate each and every one of us. This is the game. You are the most miraculous point of light with the most crazy, awesome spirit/human trick that no one else in this universe has. Go ahead, tell me you're not special. Go ahead and tell me that everyone isn't special. And I don't care who it is. I don't care where they're from. I don't care what their canvas was painted with. I take all of that shit and scrape it all away because all I can see is the beautiful essence of the being. And, if I was God, and I am, that's what I would do. I would create so many infinite points of me, points of view, so that I could observe the incredible glory that we all are. It's incredible. And the joy of this is there's no ego attached. It's just pure bliss. But a little post here from Paul. Actually, I might get him to jump